police custody at that time. And when they searched Smith's vehicle, they found a loaded firearm as well as illegal drugs. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Multitude of charges.
Well, we do have quite a mess on 24 eastbound just past Sam Ridley Parkway. A crash there has got the right two lanes blocked and traffic backed up quite a ways behind it, as you can well imagine. We also have an injury crash reported, Murfreesboro Pike at Bell Road. And also on 65 southbound, just after Trinity Lane, a crash and injury accident reported now on 24 westbound. This would be right at Interstate 440. That's your traffic, and we've got it every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, kids. Welcome in. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, a midweek edition, 7 minutes after 3 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and all across the Central Time Zone. We thank you for being around today. Whatever time you're able to give us, I'm thankful. Whether it's 5 minutes, maybe you're in and out of the car, maybe you're just turning your radio on for a brief audio blip of Matt Murphy before you have to turn it off again and go back to work. Whatever you happen to be doing, whether you're in your automobiles, homes, places of business, or otherwise, we thank you for being a part of our day and allowing us to be a part of yours. 615-737-9986 is the telephone number. 615-737-9986. I love, absolutely love, it is my favorite part of the job, having conversations with you, taking telephone calls, salty as I may be, surly as I may be, curmudgeonly as I may be. I absolutely love it and encourage it. You can also hit us up on the Super Text line. That's up and running at the same number, 615-737-9986. Allow me to get the pleasantries out of the way, and we'll get this show up, running, and lumbering under its own weight. It's Wednesday, July 16. We're on a variety of platforms. It's episode 843. 843 of these visits together on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's day 177 of Donald Trump's second term as president of the United States of America. That's out of 1460.5. Let's see. We're on platforms like Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, any application that plays music, podcast shows, information news, we're there. And if we're not, tell us and we'll get there. And a lot of you used to say, well, you're not on Rumble. Well, we're on Rumble now. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch on the television side of things, and now Rumble. That's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and now Rumble. I had a conversation with someone earlier today. By the way, no Ken Weaver for the rest of the week. He is capably being filled in for by young Jay Harper, who is back in News Closet B. Hello, Jay.
Howdy there, Matt. And, man, I must congratulate you on you're certainly to be commended on the TVA reversal.
Oh, man. Well, I was
you played a role in that, man.
You're very kind. I was a very small part in what was an overall movement. John Rich is the central figure in all of this, and we certainly amplified it as best we could on Super Talk 99.7. But what a great victory for the people of Cheatham County. And more broadly, I think it hopefully sends a message to the Tennessee Valley Authority and these other governmental organizations that, you know what, you can't do business like this anymore. There was a time when maybe you could bully people around. There was a time maybe where you could push people around. Well, those times are over. And now it's time to be answerable to the people. And everybody is – look, I don't know of anyone that doesn't recognize that we need to have power in our community and we need increases in power. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk to somebody in the 4 o'clock hour that has a lot of information about the way that TVA has long done their business. He actually wrote a book about the Tennessee Valley Authority. I'll tell you more about that fella coming up in a couple of minutes. But all that to say, thank you, Jay. You're very kind. What is that? Is that a Yankees cap you got on? Is that right? Is that Yankees?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. It's an all-star game cap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's got all-star game on the side. And and boy, a nutty game last night.
You weren't there, were you?
No, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I caught a little bit of that. And last I caught, the National League was up 6-0. And I thought, well, there you go. I can go to bed comfortably.
Right.
And then it was – and who eventually won? Was it National League?
Yeah, in a tiebreaker, a home run derby tiebreaker. A lot of folks weren't aware that in the All-Star game, they determined to solve ties back in 2022. They came up with this by having a home run derby swing-off. And that's what happened last night, as the American League came back and tied it at 6.
So I think I have this right. Jay, correct me if my history is a little wrong. So for forever, there was the All-Star game, and the All-Star game, quote-unquote, did not mean anything.
Correct. Yeah, just an exhibition.
It was an exhibition, but I think they played extra innings.
They did. Until
well, and then they started assigning home field to the winner of the All-Star game.
Yes, because I forget the year, but I believe it was in Milwaukee. I may be wrong, but nonetheless, there was a tie game, and
everybody hated it.
Well, they didn't want to hurt pitchers, in an exhibition game by continuing to play on and on and on. So they just called it a tie.
Everybody hated it. Well, yep. and there was also a dynamic, and it was when I remember when I was a kid and we would watch the All-Star game, the Braves weren't very good. I grew up in just outside of Augusta, Georgia, in a small town, Thomson, Georgia, Thomson, no P in Thompson. And my grandmother, huge Braves fan, huge, hated Tommy Lasorda with every fiber of her being. He was the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and was convinced, Jay, that she called him Tommy Lasoda. She didn't call him Lasorda. Lasoda. That Lasoda pays off the umpires. She would tell me that, and convinced that he bought off the umps. But so anyway, the Braves weren't very good, and they might have a Dale Murphy or a Bob Horner on the All-Star team, but they rarely would start. And so I would wait for them to get in. And I remember back in the day, you could get on the All-Star team and not play. I mean, I remember it distinctly that there were times when you would have a player or two that wouldn't actually get on the field. Well, that's long gone. They get everybody on the field.
They try to, yeah.
And I think that's a kind of a byproduct of what happened with the tie ball game, is because the managers make a concerted effort to get everybody in the game, to get them some time. Well, if everybody's used up and it's now the 14th inning,
exactly.
I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, and especially the concern for pitchers.
That's right.
You know,
that makes a lot of sense.
And the managers of the All-Star teams, they don't want to have the other managers ticked at them for hurting their guy.
Right. Right. No, it makes perfect sense. So they wanted it to mean something. So they assigned home field advantage in the World Series to the winner of the All-Star game, but they didn't want to hurt anybody. So the compromise became this it's kind of like a shootout in
hockey.
In hockey.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a swing off, and that's what they call it.
A swing off. Wow. Yeah. I went to one of those in college. You put your keys in the little. Anyway,
right. I manned the keg in those. Yeah.
So the National League eventually came out.
Kyle Schwarber came up and won the thing by hitting 3 successive home runs on 3 swings, and the Phillies star won it for the National League.
Love
Schwarber. Such a dog.
Who, Schwarber?
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. You know, I realized watching the home run derby night before last. Because I was watching for Matt Olson and I watched him fail. He excited us toward the end of the home run derby, but whatever.
Right. Didn't have enough swings or time left.
Yeah, just didn't have enough juice at the end. But how little I pay attention to the regular season now. I mean, and I used to be all in. I used to have a baseball fantasy team. And you want to talk about being all in, having to set your pitching rotation every day of a 162 game baseball season.
I had one year. Me and my couple of college buddies did it. We didn't. None of us lasted a month.
I had baseball on my I guess it was my PlayStation, and years ago. It was pretty realistic. It was pretty good for being back in the day. But you had the option of you could play a 162 game season, just like the pros. And I made it through like 30 games before I started simulating it. It's just too much.
Yeah, it is. Fantasy football, once a week, but baseball's a bit much.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. But anyway, Jay Harper is back in the newsroom. He gathers headlines, delivers those twice an hour, or when news breaks, he'll break in here, and we appreciate Jay being in the absence of Ken Weaver. And Jay will obviously participate in Nincompoops in the News coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Mr. Jackson Williams.
Hey, buddy.
Behind the glass. Saved my bacon yesterday, friend.
I'm glad we're both back today.
Yeah, saved my bacon yesterday. Jay, you probably don't know this story. So I know you know the news side of this story. For those that might have missed it, Jillian Ludwig was a young Belmont University student who was sadly slain by, what's his name, Shaquille Taylor, I
think.
Is that
correct.
Right?
Yes.
And it has now been determined that Shaquille Taylor is competent to stand trial in the death of Jillian Ludwig. Sadly, Shaquille Taylor was out on his own recognizances because it was determined by a judge and by the prosecution, the DA in Nashville, Tennessee, that he was incompetent to stand trial on previous charges. Charges relating to, I think, assault, and I forget what the nature of the charges were, but he specifically was released because it was determined by the DA that he was unable to stand trial. So yesterday, this story breaks yesterday, and before the show ends in the 6 o'clock hour, for those who missed it, we talked about it. And I don't know if you guys know this, but our Nashville district attorney, his name is Glenn Funk. But that's not what I said yesterday.
Oh, what could it have been?
Well, I think Jackson has the audio. Let's go ahead and roll tape. I say, let's go ahead and roll tape. I say, let's go ahead and give Matt the thumbs up when ready to roll tape. Okay, he was being held on multitude of charges, and he was released when it was determined by Glenn Funk's district attorney's office. Listen to me try to. Did you dump me on that? Yeah, it's probably best.
Yeah, that was.
It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I agree with me from yesterday that it was a mistake, but
Oh, God.
some of those you don't come back from. And
That's one we couldn't let slip out there.
and I said it too, boy, loud and proud.
With your old chest, buddy.
If you want to see this or hear it without the beep, it's up on my X Machine page at Matt Murphy Show. I put it up. And by the way, I don't name Jackson Williams friend groups, and so I have no idea what your friend group name means. Someone pointed that out to me. That has nothing to do with me. I just asked
No, that's
Jackson.
your group chat, right?
That is not my group chat. But I asked Jackson to send me the clip of me screwing that up. And he did, and he was apparently chatting in his friend group as he was sending it to me or something. I don't know how that happened.
So
but
Joseph, the producer of on 104.5 The Zone, pulled the video and sent it to me, and we're all in a group chat with Matt's in the group chat as well. He loves the group chat.
Me?
Yeah.
I am not in the group chat. I would
that fake
love.
news?
That is most certainly fake news. Speaking of fake news, we're going to talk a little about that today. Get your thoughts on it. So it was Monday that I offered a monologue that I informally in my head titled "The Last Word" on Jeffrey Epstein. Because I recognize that while we might have continued questions about Jeffrey Epstein and concerns, that Donald Trump was ready to move on. And I concluded the monologue by saying, all of my concerns and all of my questions that have yet to be answered and all of the misunderstanding that I can't quite get past and all of those things that concern me about how all of this has been handled, it is one of many things within the Trump administration's first 6 months, and it is one of the singular ones that I can point to and say, I don't like the way that this is going down. Just about everything else I would point to and I would say, great job, if not everything else. But I recognize that as Donald Trump was ready to move on, the majority of his supporters would move on with him. But a funny thing has happened over the last several days. Donald Trump won't stop answering questions about it. And every time he answers a question about it, he becomes more forceful in his answers. And he has begun to use language that it just brings up the subject again for further conversation. Because I genuinely don't understand what he means when he says that this is a hoax. I don't. I understand what the Russia hoax was. I understand what Trump means when he says that 2020 we had the rug pulled out from us with regard to election results. I understand what a hoax is. I understand how the media narrative utilizes their power and their viewership to change the nature of the news to fit the narrative that they choose. I understand all of those things. But I feel like our man is putting a square peg into a round hole. And honesty compels me to tell you that. And so we shall discuss, we shall talk about it. We'll get your calls. I know some of you don't want to talk about it anymore, but it's not me bringing it up. It's the President of the United States of America bringing it up. And it matters. Justice matters. Transparency matters. Children matter. Speaking truth to power, all of that matters. It's 22 after the hour. We'll continue the discussion next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, and I want to talk to you for a moment about a home generator system from Premier Generators. Guys, we live in a state where we get all kinds of weather, and with each season comes another opportunity for your power to go out. What do you do if your power goes out? Do you just take it? Do you just sit there and take it? Or do you let the experts at Premier Generators help you out and show you, as they know their craft inside and out, show you exactly what the best generator and the best home generation system will be for you. And as a free consultation goes, I mean, it's absolutely free, obviously, but they want to just demonstrate the benefits to you. It not only benefits you and your family because you don't have to worry about the power going out anymore. That's obvious. But it also increases the value of your home because that generator will be there, for the rest of time. Premier Generators is your #1 Generac generator dealer in the state of Tennessee, and I invite you to call them at 855-797-4766. Don't wait. Let's get this done. 10-year warranty on all generators at Premier. 855-797-4766 or online at premiergenerators.com.
A new federal bill is now law in the fight against fentanyl. We'll have that story, and Israel with airstrikes in Syria. We'll have those stories coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay Harper. Obviously Jay Harper has slid into his role in the Super Talk 99.7 WTN News Closet B. And as he leaves the traffic center, young Jeff Malinoff, a.k.a. KGB, slides into that role. I have a question, Jackson. Is Malinoff doing the traffic under threat of assault? Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like someone said, you're going to do the traffic. I mean, based on what I just heard, it's like, you're going to do the traffic this afternoon, or we're going to have to rough you and your family up.
Where did KGB come from?
Well, his last name's Malinoff, and kind of sounded Russian. And so I said that most people would probably think you're an agent from the KGB, and I can't remember if it's, Malinoff, Malinovsky, Malvinoff. So I went with KGB, and it kind of stuck. Plus, there were several that were trying to call him Mini Dan, as in Mini-Me. And I was trying. It was actually an effort on my part, believe it or not. I am it's a kindness I did the man because I didn't like the idea of him being called Mini Dan. I mean, I don't think that I wouldn't put that on anybody. So I went with KGB and it stuck.
Oh,
so there you go. Do you have a nickname, Jackson?
I go by Jackson. Jay Wills is what Zach Lyons calls me.
Jay Wills.
Yeah, WILLZ.
Oh, I get it. I was every time I say your name, the song Jackson by Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash gets in my head.
We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout.
We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. Nothing from the youngster in the
That's before his time, man.
So all right.
I'm sorry, is senior citizen hour over?
Yeah, no. So we can't last an hour. Come on, we're old. I want to, when we return, talk about trust and talk about how the uniqueness of the emotion that is trust and how that applies to the Epstein case. It is not a deal breaker for sane people that support Donald Trump. It is certainly not a deal breaker for me, but it doesn't have to be. But I'm not about to be lectured by anybody telling me that it is somehow treasonous in nature, in spirit, that I shake my head over how all of this has gone down over the past several weeks. Because I didn't do any of this. They did all of this. The people that I'm supposedly to trust did all of this. They set it up in a way where they have created more questions than they have provided answers. It is 30 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is now 31 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories, a forecast, and a traffic reporter coming up. Today, President Trump signs a bill called the HALT Act, which will permanently make fentanyl a Schedule I drug. The bill passed Congress with bipartisan support and made permanent an already existing temporary Schedule I status for fentanyl and fentanyl-related products. At a bill signing ceremony at the White House, the president says the minimum sentence for offenders, now that fentanyl is Schedule I, would be 10 years in prison. The president also touting his tariffs on Chinese imports into the U.S.
This is 100 times more potent, and it's happening stronger, more and more dangerous. And as you know, and I have a very good relationship with President Xi of China, but I imposed a 20% tariff on China because of the fentanyl, and I call it a penalty. It's a penalty.
At least one person was killed and nearly 20 hurt after Israel struck portions of Syria's capital, Damascus. The strikes on government facilities come after the IDF says it is protecting a minority population in Syria that also resides in parts of Israel. More from ABC's Patrick Reevell, who says the Druze community has been clashing with the new Syrian government.
This crisis began when heavy clashes broke out in the southern region of Suwaida, which is a Druze stronghold, and where dozens of people were killed. And now the Druze is a large minority of about 1 million people inside Syria, but there is also a significant number of Druze in Israel. And basically, Israel said that it would basically anointed itself a protector.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. We still have the right lane blocked on 24 eastbound just past Sam Ridley Parkway. There's an accident there, and apparently somebody hit some potholes or something there and tore up some vehicles, and then some folks ran into one another. In any event, it's not pretty. Again, this is 24 eastbound just past Sam Ridley Parkway. 40 eastbound at Charlotte Avenue, we have a crash. Also 24 westbound, right at I-440. Murfreesboro Pike at Bell Road, we picked up a crash. And out in Lebanon, 40 eastbound at Highway 109, that's the exit 232 there. We picked up a wreck. I'm Jay Harper, and we've got your traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
If you're heading down Franklin Way, I would encourage you to get to the square. You guys know where the square is if you've been to Franklin, and head off to the side of the square. On the Gray's Pharmacy side, you'll find Savory Spice. Absolutely lovely shop. Holly and David are most often there. You can see the owners of Savory Spice as you walk through the doors. Even before you get to the doorway, you'll smell the delicious smells. I mean, you smell the cinnamon or nutmeg, or you smell chili powder, or maybe mustard. I mean, they have all of the spices that you need to complete the full spice rack for the cook in your life. If you have gift giving that is on the horizon, maybe a birthday or something or another, if you have a cook in your family, get the gifts from Savory Spice. Plus, if you're trying to learn, they've got the Spice and Easy line of products, too. I mean, they got everything for the kitchen at Savory Spice. Do not trust the grocery stores. Do not trust the discount stores for the things that you put in your belly, the spices that really liven up the food. You want to up that food game by upping the spice game. And you up that spice game with Savory Spice, located in the heart of Franklin. Go by and see them today, and be sure to tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Savory Spice. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we have a guest that has written a book on TVA. And, you know, I don't know that Jared Sullivan and I will necessarily agree on the climate impact on TVA, but that's not the point. I want to talk about TVA as an entity, how it got started, and how it has morphed into what it is. And Jared Sullivan is a gentleman that has written a book on the subject. He is a former editor of Field and Stream and Men's Journal, published a book about TVA called Valley So Low. It's been out for a number of years now, and it's a very interesting topic and an important topic. And I want to talk to him about, you know, the building of gas plants versus some of the other types of plants that they've built in the past, to include coal-fired, and where we are on the issue of small modular nukes. That's all coming in the 4 o'clock hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, let's talk about trust for a moment. Just generally speaking, away from the world of politics, I've long been amazed at the emotion of trust, because trust is unique in the emotion universe in as much as it operates differently. I would argue that the emotions that we go through, particularly relationship-based emotions, they turn on very quickly and turn off very slowly. As an example, when you find yourself falling in or in love with someone, that typically happens, relatively speaking, pretty quickly. For most people, when they find themselves in that dynamic where they fall in love, they know long before they're willing to say. And if something happens along the way, whether it's, you know, deception or whatever, a bad breakup, the love lingers far longer than the breakup. It slowly fades away. Same thing with anger. Anger can hit you like a lightning bolt, and that anger will slowly subside and fade away. Sadness, slowly subside and fade away. Trust is quite the opposite. Trust is an emotion that takes time to build and build and build. And the longer that you build on those building blocks, the stronger the trust becomes. Between you and another person, between you and your best friend or your significant other, between you and an entity. Trust can turn off like a light switch when you find that someone has violated your trust. I was thinking about this as I was thinking about American institutions. Donald Trump represented something more than himself when he came on the scene in 2015 as a political figure. He represented an outsider that, A, could be trusted, and B, could not be compromised. It is one of the reasons that we have built the level of trust that we have with Donald Trump. I trust Donald Trump. But I also understand that sometimes his focus is going to be on different things than mine or yours or even a good percentage of the American people. And Donald Trump, because he has built this up, will look at me and say, trust me, and I do. What I find amazing about the Epstein files, what I find amazing about this different dynamic, that it does not seem to have filtered to our man DJT quite yet. The entities that we are talking about destroyed my trust and faith. They did that to me. When the FBI used FISA warrants with the knowledge of the Department of Justice to spy on a candidate for the presidency of the United States, that's a destruction of trust. When the NSA lied about spying on the American people back in the day, that's a destruction and an erosion of trust. There are countless stories about how the FBI and CIA have been willing to violate civil liberties for their own gains against the fabric of the Constitution of the United States of America. And in some cases, they could make a compelling argument that it was for a greater purpose. Yet still, it is a destruction of trust. One of the reasons that the people that are currently in power over the FBI, over the Department of Justice, in the Attorney General's office, these people are in those positions of power because they told us not to trust those institutions. That you verify and you demand a transparency. Are we making sense here? The very people that not a year ago told us to not trust the FBI are now telling us to trust the FBI. The very people that made a very good living on explaining to us how things ought to be in terms of transparency, how the government ought to act if it is truly of the people and by the people. They have changed their story. I've not changed. They've changed. At very least, they owe it to us, regardless of what are. I've never believed that the files were the treasure trove that the very people who are now saying there's nothing there told us they were 9 months ago, 10 months ago. Y'all, I'm not trying to belabor the point when I say to you that they didn't say, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel did not say they think they know what's in the file. Go listen to the audio. They said they knew what was in the file. They created and built an amazing following. And they built up an amazing amount of trust with the people that listened to them and watched them. Based on what they said was good information. And now I'm being told that I'm being duped by the Democrats if I question why they've changed their story. I'm being told that I'm being played by the Democrats if I question what changed between 10 months ago when Kash Patel said Epstein's black book is on the FBI director's desk, and now he says that a black book does not exist. He didn't say it might be. He said it was. Well, it's on him to explain how the story changed, isn't it? If you expect to build back trust in the FBI as an institution, if you expect to build back trust in our intelligence gathering agencies as an institution or institutions, is it not up to them to explain to the American people why then they told us that it was not if, it was not I think, it was I know? And I remember it because I doubted it. And I'm not here to play a game of I told you so, but as I said, well, I don't know that any of us, and I don't know that any of us truly know what's in the Epstein files, Matt Murphy would say, and someone would say, well, Dan Bongino knows. Well, apparently he didn't know. And now we're told that we just accept the current narrative and trust them. Well, why the hell would I do that? All I'm asking for is for you to explain to me, or at least to admit to me, that you didn't know. Or what has changed between then and now. A lot of people want to believe. A lot of people want to trust. I'm one of them. But I listened to you then. And you told me then. The fascinating thing, now, as the head of the FBI or the assistant director of the FBI or the head of the Department of Justice or the Attorney General of the United States of America, these folks who I have heretofore trusted, they're saying the same thing that the Merrick Garlands of the world said, or the Christopher Wrays of the world said, or the James Comeys of the world said. But I'm supposed to trust you. Why? Why? Just because it's you? Because you told me something that turned out not to be so a year ago? Now, I do trust our man, Donald J. Trump. But that doesn't mean that I think he's right all the time. And it certainly doesn't mean that I think that he 100% of the time reads the room in the proper fashion. And now we're calling this a hoax. And I'm not even mad. I just don't know what that means. Do you mean that the whole thing's a hoax? Because our man is telling us that this was all set up by Democrats, and it's a Democrat hoax. It's a hoax like the Russia deal was a hoax. I think he used that language. And I'm just confused by that. Because the Epstein charges happened while Donald Trump was president of the United States of America. Epstein died in 2019. I've got that right, huh? 2019. Who was president in 2019? Jackson, you want to take a stab? Who was president of the United States of America in 2019?
Donald Trump.
Donald J. Trump. So he was charged then. He, quote unquote, killed himself in custody. His co-conspirator was charged and eventually convicted. America wants to know who else, if anyone, was involved in this criminal conspiracy, in these criminal activities. We want to see the case our government was prepared to make against Jeffrey Epstein. We want to know whether it involves other people who could potentially be charged. We want to bring child pedophiles to justice, no matter who they are. Biden hit it. All of this went away during the Biden administration. Now we want transparency, the transparency that we were promised. I understand why Donald Trump wants to move on. And maybe there's not any additional information there. I would be willing to accept that. But what is a hoax? What is a hoax about this? I have voted for Donald Trump 6 times in my life, in 3 primaries and 3 general elections. And I would vote for him again tomorrow. But that does not mean that I am not very, very disappointed. And you should be too, if you value the truth. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Friends, Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solutions Center. They got it going on over there in Brentwood, also in Murfreesboro. 2 locations in service to you. Now, I don't mention as often as I probably should that they're in network. Did you know they're in network for most medical insurance in the state of Tennessee, whether it's BCBS, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, Medicare. They're also a preferred provider, TRICARE for the military. Friends, they can help you sleep better. If you have sleep apnea, or if you think you do because you stop breathing at night, or you stop, you wake up in fits, you know how sleep apnea reacts, right? And snoring is a telltale sign. They have an FDA-approved oral device. It fits in your mouth. It is custom designed for your mouth. And it takes care of this. It keeps the airway open. You breathe better throughout the night. It solves your mild to moderate sleep apnea. And I know that because it has solved mine. It certainly can solve that mild to moderate sleep apnea. So I invite you to give them a call today. You start the journey by going to TennesseeSleep.com. That's TennesseeSleep.com. Contact Dr. Brian McLaughlin and his team. You'll be happy you did. It's TennesseeSleep.com.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
Well, as you could imagine, President Trump, he's also facing some pushback from fellow Republicans over this entire Epstein matter. And there are also now new developments in the murder of an American Idol producer and her husband. We'll have those stories here in just a bit on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Jay Harper. Jay Harper in the newsroom. Several of you asking, where's Brother Ken? Ken Weaver on a few days of sabbatical. They like to say in the news department he's on assignment. That's what they call it, on assignment. You know what assignment means more often than not, Jackson?
He didn't want to come to work.
Vacay. That's right. Yeah, that's exactly what it means. So Ken is on assignment for the rest of the week. Jay Harper filling in for him. Malinoff filling in for Harper. Look, I'm not here to belabor it. I'm here to talk about the subjects of the day. It comes back up because of the insistence on the part of our president that all of this is a big hoax, and it's not. I mean, it's just not a hoax. I mean, it's just not. And I know that many of you don't feel like you can handle it, and I'm getting it on the super text line. Boy, we agree all these times, but the one time, I mean, if you're frustrated by this, ask yourself why. You don't like me talking about it. Why? Why don't you like me talking about it? Because you find yourself at disagreement with your president that you trust and support? Well, I feel the same way about it. I don't like it any more than you guys. But it is what it is. You know what I like less than feeling this way? Child rape. Yeah. We'll get off the topic and talk about TVA in a moment with our guest, Jared Sullivan. It is just after 4 o'clock. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 1.5 minutes past 4 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A full forecast and a traffic report. They're on the way. President Trump facing at least some pushback from fellow Republicans over his new stance on the Jeffrey Epstein matter. Trump wants his supporters to stop talking about it. Well, the case of the accused sex trafficker is not going away. He passed away in federal jail in 2019. Stephen Portnoy has more.
The president now calls the Epstein matter a, quote, big hoax.
It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
That, despite the number of Trump supporters and officials in his own administration who've spent years demanding the release of the Epstein files and propagating conspiracy theories about them. Missouri Republican Eric Burleson says Trump may be misreading his base.
While it might not be a top priority for him, it certainly is a top priority for a lot of people.
Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego from Arizona, he's introduced a resolution calling on the DOJ to release its files related to the Epstein investigation. Charges are expected later this week against a man accused of killing an American Idol senior producer and her husband in their home after breaking in. ABC's Alex Stone, he's in L.A.
22-year-old Raymond Bouderian is now under arrest, accused of breaking into the home of Robin Kay and her husband while they were away last Thursday, and when they returned home, shooting and killing them. Police don't believe they were targeted, but that he may have been in the home burglarizing it at the time. Detectives say a gun was found at Bouderian's home. Testing is being done now to determine if that was the murder weapon.
Back here in Middle Tennessee, a man's now in custody nearly 3 weeks after he allegedly displayed a gun in front of an officer during a traffic stop in East Nashville. Back on June 26, police conducted a traffic stop on a black Infiniti G35 displaying an unofficial license plate. As the officer approached the car, he reportedly saw the driver, Marcus Smith, 47 years of age, holding a semi-automatic handgun with an extended magazine between his left leg and the car door. Reportedly, the officer knocked on the car window and Smith raised the gun where the officer could see it, and the officer, he backed away after seeing that. Smith then took off. A police pursuit was not initiated at that time. Smith, however, was later identified after he was found to be connected with incidents in Hendersonville and Madison, involving a man in the same vehicle fleeing from traffic stops. Well, he was located yesterday in Madison and taken into police custody. During a search of Smith, police found a loaded firearm as well as illegal drugs. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. Well, as we look at your afternoon commute, we still have that issue out in the Smyrna area, 24 eastbound, just past Sam Ridley Parkway. The right lane is blocked there. There's potholes and cars running into each other and traffic everywhere. So be advised of that. We also have an injury crash now. Old Hickory Boulevard, west of Nolensville Pike. 40 eastbound at Charlotte Avenue, still working that wreck. 65 northbound. This would be up in Robertson County. Exit 117, we have a crash. And finally, out in Wilson County, I-40 eastbound at Highway 109. That's the Gallatin exit at 232, working a wreck there. We've got your traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. Hour number 2 starts right now. We'll shift back to the news of the day coming up in about 30 minutes or so. But for now, well, I mean, I guess this is news of the day, considering that we broke some yesterday. We have been discussing with you the Tennessee Valley Authority, particularly with its desire to bring a natural gas or methane plant to Cheatham County. And this has been going on for any number of years. They bought the property several years ago saying that it was for, quote unquote, potential future use. And the TVA then eventually divulged that potential future use would be, as I've described it, a methane plant. And some supporters of TVA are very angry at me for describing it that way. They prefer the term natural gas. It's the same thing, but I understand one scares folks a little more than the other. Be that as it may, John Rich, country music superstar and local advocate, I suppose, he lived for a good amount of time in Cheatham County, heard from some of the residents over there, brought this awareness to me, and we've talked about it on multiple occasions, that the TVA just doesn't really operate like any other entity in the United States of America. They're truly answerable to no one, absent the President of the United States of America. And, you know, there are very few people that make those decisions at TVA, especially considering that they don't even have a full board. I think there's a 9-member board, and last I checked, there were only 4 or 3 members of that board. And so to further the discussion about TVA and how they do their business and what's next, because it's an entity large enough that there are many, many good things that the TVA is doing, and there are some not so good things that the TVA is doing. Jared Sullivan reached out to me. He lives in Franklin, Tennessee, former editor for Field and Stream and Men's Journal, and he published a book last year called Valley So Low, One Lawyer's Fight for Justice in the Wake of America's Great Coal Catastrophe. And I brought him on not necessarily to talk about the subject matter of that book, but more broadly to talk about the subject that is the Tennessee Valley Authority. And we are pleased to welcome Jared Sullivan to the Matt Murphy Show. Jared, good afternoon.
Matt, delighted to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to full disclosure, I've not yet read the book, but I know that I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine that a lot of broad-based research went into the Tennessee Valley Authority, generally speaking, so that you could boil it down and talk about this situation that happened in Kingston. But before we get to that broad research, just talk about the book a little bit and what led you to the topic and what generally the book is about.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the book is called Valley So Low. It came out in October, and it's a look at the 2008 Kingston coal ash disaster, which I'm sure your listeners have some familiarity about, which basically what happened, there was a 6-story tall, 84-acre mountain of coal ash that collapsed in the middle of the night, and this was in 2008. And 900 blue-collar workers from around the country descended on the site to help clean it up. And it was the middle of the Depression, the recession, so a lot of these workers were delighted to get the phone call saying, hey, we've had TVA made a big mess down here in Kingston, which is outside of Knoxville. Come work. And what turns out, TVA, one of its contractors, they this coal ash stuff is full of arsenic and beryllium and radium and silica, stuff you absolutely do not want to inhale. Turns out TVA and one of its contractors, Jacobs Engineering, didn't give these workers adequate protective, dust mask, adequate protective gear. So my book's kind of a legal thriller that follows this well-meaning personal injury attorney in Knoxville. He's spent 10 years of his life and it basically wrecked his life pursuing a case on behalf of these sick workers who fell ill after working on this job site. So it's a real life legal thriller. People have compared to Aaron Brockovich.
I was about to ask if you've gotten those comparisons because
it's a flattering comparison. I mean, that's obviously a great story, but it's the same thing. It's like this lawyer is private investigator in Knoxville. His name's Jim Scott. He worked DUIs and car crashes and medical malpractice cases. He was not like a big hot shot attorney, to say the least, but he had a great heart, and he, most important, listened to these blue collar workers when they came to him saying, hey, we're sick. And TVA and one of its contractors, Jacobs Engineering, allegedly weren't giving them dust masks and respirators. So, and Jim Scott, to his credit, he heard them out, and he, like I said, he spent 10 years of his life dragging this case through federal court, and it almost killed him. It really, really did. And now more than 50 of these workers who worked on this job site are now dead. And it's just a great American tragedy. Of course, it's a Tennessee tragedy, but what happened to those folks? Yeah, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, it just draws an aspect to this that I want to address, and that is that, it's interesting. A lot of what I do in my living is drawn along political lines. And I don't think this is a subject that really is. I mean, it deals with certain aspects of topics that I think are, whether or not we should be investing in coal, whether or not we should be doing other things with energy production, and all of those are kind of ancillary to the subject of TVA, because I think this brings, liberals and conservatives, Republicans and Democrats together in that there's a real question about how they operate, who they answer to, whether or not the people truly have a voice in the process. And TVA is just such an incredibly powerful entity in Southern America.
Yeah, it's like a Tennessee story. Like, I was delighted to come talk to you, but I've also talked to Justin Pearson and people on the left about it, because I don't like exactly what you're saying. It's not a right or left story. It's a Tennessee story, and we shouldn't. Tennesseans, I believe, are good people. We shouldn't tolerate such nonsense from TVA or any other entity. But TVA, I think, was important to remember when talking about TVA is it's very easy to criticize TVA. My book, Valley So Low, is very, very critical of TVA because it really screwed up on this job site, and I really believe their actions led to these workers getting sick. But I think at the same time, it's also important to remember that TVA has really, really, really benefited the Tennessee Valley, which is Tennessee and parts of 6 other states, and it would be a much different economic situation here in the Tennessee Valley without TVA. It has done a lot of good, and I like to believe that it could continue to do a lot of good in the future if we have the right leadership in place and if they make some of the right moves. So this whole stuff with John Rich and the Cheatham County plant, it's really, really interesting. And as you say, it does kind of dovetail with my book, because my book, basically this disaster outside Kingston in 2008, this is really the moment where TVA realized, holy cow, we have to get off coal.
Right.
It's not very efficient. It's expensive. It's making people sick. Not only these workers, but also like the townspeople around these coal plants. Cancer rates are really high around these coal plants. So this was the moment, this disaster in 2008, where TVA starts looking around saying, oh my gosh, we have to do something else.
And without dragging, I don't want to bog the conversation down talking about whether coal is necessary now or not. But I think we would agree. I'm fascinated that I think we've come to a time in 2025 where people of all political stripes could agree that small modular nuke is the future. I mean, at least I certainly feel that way. We watch as
really? I'd like to talk about that with you.
I watch as other nations have embraced the modern technologies. This is not 3 Mile Island nuke. This is not Chernobyl nuke. This is a different model, and I'm curious if you agree with that. And is there movement on TVA's part or any other energy production company that you're aware of that's kind of attempting to push us in that direction?
Yeah. So my take with the small modular nukes, which these are, I mean, just like mini nuclear reactors, right? My issue with them is why not build the big ones? These small modular reactors.
I like that too. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they cost almost as much as a big Westinghouse AP 1000, which that's your classic, big nuclear reactor. Those things cost about $10 billion each reactor. And usually when you build 2 at a time. Most nuclear plants have 2 of these reactors, right? And they each cost about 10 billion, but they produce a ton of electricity. Where these small modular reactors cost about $10 billion also, but they produce just a fraction of the electricity.
Okay.
So, so Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty, they published an op-ed, I guess it was a month or so ago, calling on TVA to build some of these SMRs or small modular reactors. I think I think they're on the right path, but I would say just build the big things. That's what we need. We have a huge, huge deficit of electricity in this state because TVA can't keep up with demand. And this winter, we had that big storm back in January, as I'm sure all your listeners recall. TVA had to buy power from other utilities, and we shouldn't tolerate that as Tennesseans. Like Tennessee, the TVA exists to our benefit. It exists to produce cheap power, for us to spur industry and to make our lives better. That's why Franklin Roosevelt, with his partners in Congress, created TVA during the Great Depression. And so I would say just go big. We need it. We need the power. Like power rates in the Tennessee Valley have increased 10% over the past 2 years. I mean, that's dramatic. That's way faster than the cost of, than the rise of inflation. So that's my one little quibble with.
So would it be? I mean, would you agree? I feel like maybe the reason that we don't see more of our political figures or more people forward facing saying, "Hey, we need to build larger nuclear facilities," is public perception. I mean,
yeah. So TVA, and this is TVA's own fault. Back in the 60s, they planned to build 7 jumbo nuclear power plants, but they had all these mishaps and disasters at them. In Browns Ferry in North Alabama, there was a electrician looking for an air leak, and he was using some kind of lit match to look for an air leak, and he caught the whole place on fire and caused millions of dollars. Oh, it was a disaster. I mean, that's the most noteworthy. And this was before 3 Mile Island, by the way. So people like to say, "Oh, 3 Mile Island, that's why we don't have nuclear in this country. That put the ice on, nuclear in the United States." That's not true. TVA was already screwing up before 3 Mile Island. So because of safety issues at their plants, and also because crazy cost overruns, they only built 3 of their 7 nuclear power plants, which is such a shame because we need those nuclear power plants now so desperately. But here's the catch, and this is the thing I would wish John Rich would take up as his next cause. In 1979, Congress put a debt cap on TVA. TVA can only borrow $30 billion, which that's obviously a big number, right? But that number does not grow with inflation. So now TVA, because of all of its costs, all of its projects, is $20 billion in debt. So that means it has $10 billion of debt to finance new projects.
Mm-hmm.
It costs more than $10 billion to build a new nuclear power plant. Congress needs to index TVA's debt limit to inflation and translate that $30 billion into today's dollars so TVA can afford to build more nuclear plants. John Rich would be doing a great service to this country and to this state if he made that his next cause. Raise TVA's debt limit. So, and they take out bonds. They're very responsible stewards of their money. I feel like that's what needs to happen.
Well, I get it. Well, I think you go. I mean, I think you go along. I mean, if that's where we want to go, if that's where we want to get to, then I think you don't do that cause service by the way that they've acted in Cheatham County, right? Because it might be a small thing, and for me, it was never a matter of whether or not we need a natural gas plant. It was the manner in which TVA treats it, what ultimately would be their bosses. And I understand that, if you have that level of power and authority to make that level of decision, then you're likely, it is human nature, or it is the nature of an entity of this size and power that you become somewhat dismissive of the concerns of a localized community. But the public perception about how they do their business just leaves a very, very bad taste in people's mouths. So it's hard to get to that stage where we discuss, hey, should we give them more borrowing authority to let them do this, to let them do that, when people are so frustrated, generally speaking, at TVA as an entity.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a classic TVA problem. Like it has a police force because back when they were building their dozens of hydroelectric dams in the 30s, people were also pissed, right? Like frankly, I get it. Like I wouldn't want TVA to flood my land for a dam back in the 30s. I wouldn't want them to run a pipeline across my property now. TVA, they could do a much, much better job of reaching out to the public and building support among the public for their projects. And they historically have not done that. So that's why you have, people understandably getting very, very upset, like in Cheatham County, saying, hey, I don't want this through my land. But TVA, when we have demanded much from TVA, it has delivered.
There's great good. I mean, there's no question. Sure. There's great. Hold your thought here, Jared. I'm sorry to do it, but we've got Jared on the line. We'll get him for another segment. We got a quick timeout to take, and we'll have a few minutes on the other side. It's 23 after the hour. You're listening to the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk. Nobody likes the idea of roaches in their house. I mean, just the very idea of it just gives me the creeps. Well, I'm going to creep you out even further. If you see one, there are more, a lot more that you don't see in the walls, in your basement, in your crawl space, and you need to get rid of those things, folks. Who do you call? I would encourage you to call U.S. Pest. They are your #1 pest control company in Middle Tennessee and beyond. J.K. and Erica Brister have grown this company by leaps and bounds because they do it the right way. They hire great people, they have great product, and they get it done. I love to say, if you see a billboard around town, if you see any signage from U.S. Pest, you are going to see an American flag somewhere along those signage. And, they fly them over their billboards. That costs money. Why do they do it? Because they love the United States of America. Two things. They love the U.S., and they hate bugs. They can't stand them, and they'll get rid of them. Now it is bug season with all of the fleas and ticks out of doors that come inside. If you let them, get U.S. Pest on your team. Go to uspest.com. That's uspest.com, or call the best. Call U.S. Pest, 590-1260, 590-1260.
A new federal bill is now law in the fight against fentanyl. And Israel, with airstrikes in Syria, in Damascus specifically. We'll have those stories and more at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A few additional moments with our guest via Zoom. You can see him on the line on Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. We're also on Spotify, iHeart, everywhere you go. You can find us on our app, and then, of course, 99.7 FM. We thank you. Jared is the author of Valley So Low. Just came out last October, so I would encourage you to pick up a copy. I know I'm picking up a copy, and I'm supporting Jared, and I will be reading the book. and I encourage you to do so as well. He has a somewhat of a, I dare say, expert on the subject of the Tennessee Valley Authority, and we've been talking about these guys for quite a bit. I want to ask you a general question, and we only have like 3 minutes left, so this might be a future topic that we can have you back on to discuss. But I mean, TVA was obviously a necessity at the time of its creation. Is it still necessary that TVA is solely owned by the federal government?
Oh, that is a tricky question. Still necessary. I think it being owned by the government gives it a potential to do bigger and more ambitious things than if it were controlled by private industry. The Cheatham County pipeline upset a lot of people, but man, having the power of eminent domain is a big tool that, when used right, can be very beneficial and hopefully allow TVA to build projects faster than it would otherwise, and also to keep cost down low. So an eminent domain, I know, so touchy, and it upset, if you're affected by it, I can understand being upset, but TVA, it also has a lot more legal legroom, let's say, to operate than a private company.
See, I look at it, it's funny. I come to sort of the same conclusion, but from a different perspective. I agree that the red tape aspect is the biggest thing, right? Because a private entity would still have to go through government in order to accomplish the goals. But as government, you can get through the eminent domain hoops a little bit better. I think it would be more cost effective if it was a private enterprise. Of course, some people might argue then that they may cut corners in the private sector and therefore endangering the lives of other people. I mean, it's a furtherance of the subject that I want to continue down the road. Just give me your, what do you think will come of the Cheatham County deal? I expect that there will be a natural gas plant somewhere near Cheatham County. I expect that they're going to find a more preferred location. Is it your hope, as we kind of wrap things up, Jared, that they, generally speaking, become, at least from a perception standpoint, a little more receptive to the concerns of a community?
I mean, TVA's tradition is to build plants in the poorest, most disenfranchised communities they can find. I mean, that's what they do, right? You build plants where people don't have any political power to push back, and that's what they'll probably do here. I wish they would pivot away from gas altogether and build more nuclear plants, but this is what our government leaders need to understand. They have to have more financing. They have to raise their borrowing limit or get loans from the federal government to afford to build these plants. Or, like, TVA, they're in a pickle right now. They need more power. That's why they're building gas plants, but they don't have the resources to, because Congress put this cap on how much they can borrow back in the 70s, and that cap has stayed there. So if our senators want to do a service, it would raise TVA's borrowing limit, index it to inflation, because it's still stuck at in 1979 levels, which is ridiculous. We need more power in the Tennessee Valley fast, and our senators could make it happen.
Jared, great, compelling conversation. I encourage people to get the book, and we'll have you back on very soon. Thanks for stopping by today.
It was a delight. Thank you, Matt.
All right, there's Jared Sullivan. Look, I consider him a new friend of the show as we continue on the Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 32 after the hour. Here comes the news.
Good afternoon. It is 4:32. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. I'll have a full forecast and a traffic report here in just a few minutes. Today, President Trump signs a bill called the HALT Act that will permanently make fentanyl a Schedule I drug. The bill passed Congress with bipartisan support and made permanent an already existing temporary Schedule I status for fentanyl and fentanyl-related products. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest.
Standing in front of families who lost a loved one to drugs, President Trump on Wednesday signed legislation aimed at combating the fentanyl crisis in the U.S.
We take a historic step toward justice for every family touched by the fentanyl scourge.
The HALT Act permanently classifies illicit fentanyl and fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I drugs.
Anyone caught trafficking these illicit poisons will be punished with a mandatory 10-year minimum sentence in prison.
Israel, they sent a very clear message to Syria's new government. They will not tolerate the mistreatment of the Druze people living in that country. This minority religious sect living in Syria, Lebanon, and Israel has pledged its loyalty to the Israeli state, and in return, so has Israel. Earlier today, Israel fired airstrikes on Syria. Marcus Moore with ABC explains.
They have carried out strikes, they say, to protect the Druze minorities, also as a warning for Syria's government not to send troops to the south. But Israel has committed to protecting the Druze minority groups in Syria and really, at the end of the day, support stability.
Syria's Ministry of Health says at least one person was killed and 18 injured during that series of strikes on a military headquarters. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. And we are still working this wreck on 24 eastbound, the off-ramp to Century Farms Parkway. It's partially blocked due to a crash there in Antioch. And still 24 eastbound past Sam Ridley Parkway, the right lane remaining blocked due to an accident earlier. Old Hickory Boulevard west of Nolensville Pike, an injury crash reported there. And 40 eastbound at Charlotte Avenue, clearing that wreck. Also in Laverne, a new one's popped up, Old Hickory Boulevard at I-24. We've got your traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy. I want to talk to you business owners for just a moment. If you own a business, odds are you need someone in your IT. You need someone to handle your computer needs. You need someone to handle your cybersecurity because 99 times out of 100, if you own a business, it's not a computer business, right? But I've got one for you, Alpha and Omega Computer Consultants. You get a real person on the phone right here in Middle Tennessee when you call Alpha and Omega, and you get one every single time you call their tech support. They deliver customized solutions grounded in best practices within the industry. They've been doing this since 1998, so almost 30 years in practice now. They have emergency services that are available but rarely needed because they get the job done on the front end. They take complete ownership in helping you with all of your IT, whether it's printers, your computer systems, your internet, cybersecurity, you name it. They take care of it, and they can troubleshoot any issue that might come up. They protect you, too. Small business owners are being targeted more and more and more for cybersecurity attacks. You need to protect yourself. Get that Alpha and Omega computer consultant firewall on your team, and you'll be happy that you did. Call Michael and his team at Alpha and Omega at 615-784 0096, 784-0096, or online at that's Alpha, and O, that's Omega, .net, ANO.net. You know, I just realized during the break, and we'll get to your calls momentarily, 615-737-9986. Hello. My name is Matt Murphy, and every day starting at around 3 o'clock, we host a little gathering. We call it the Matt Murphy Show. A lot of times Ken Weaver's here. Not this week, not the rest of the week at least. He's off. Jay Harper in his stead. You've got background folk like, Jeff Malinoff, a.k.a. KGB, who does not sound that excited to be here. Maybe it's just because it's traffic, and traffic's a downer generally, especially in the afternoon. I mean, in the drive times when you see all of that red on the screen, that's a big downer. And then there's Young Jackson. I would consider Young Jackson to be the newest addition to these afternoon gatherings because you are, Jackson.
Yeah, that is factual.
And I was trying to figure out, because many people have expressed that they like you. They hear you on the air. They see you on Talk TV. They're like, man, this Jackson, kind of like this guy. And I'm trying to figure out why I like you. And I think it's because you're more morally depraved than I am.
Oh, yeah, that's very fair.
Because Jackson, during the break, was reflecting on key moments of our relationship here on the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And those key moments involved me flipping him the bird.
Great on Talk TV.
Accidentally cursing on air and having to be dumped.
Purposefully cursing on air?
No, I used an older phraseology that the youngsters in the listening audience did not. I referred to someone getting hit in the mouth as being popped in the puss. And apparently Jackson had never heard that phrase before. And then you mentioned the fact that I had a nip slip.
You did.
When I was showing off.
No, that was purposeful.
No, the nip wasn't. I mean, I promised to show off the scar. I did not. The nip slip was an accidental one. And I'm thinking, of all of the great things that we've done over the last several weeks, these are the things Jackson remembers. There's a reason I like the kid.
It's the clips that get sent to me by my friends who are listening and watching on Talk TV.
Hello, you youngsters out there. You know what? Come for the nip slip, stay for the education. That's all I ask. Come for the occasional flipping of the bird, and you'll learn a thing or two about your government.
I got a text after the bird flipping incident, and it was just, what the hell is going on?
I forgot. You know what was going on? I was flipping you off, and I forgot I was on camera.
It was the perfect face you made. It was like a kid who got his hand caught in the cookie jar.
My bad. Gary's got a thought or two about the TVA. Hello, Gary. Gary. G-Man. The G-ster. Garonis.
G-Dog.
Oh, G-Dog. That's a good one. I feel like he's there, but he's not there. Gary, call us back. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Obviously, I just want to note that I enjoyed the conversation with Jared Sullivan, who is author of the book Valley So Low. And he's done a number of other things. And he reached out to me as a citizen of Franklin and as a resident of the state of Tennessee and as the author of this new book. And I thought it would be informational to have him on. He and I probably disagree about energy production broadly and what the future of TVA might be. But I would agree with him on a lot of his points. TVA is such an entity that I don't know that we can expect anytime in the near future for the government to absolve itself of the role that it currently has regarding its ownership of TVA. I mean, TVA is wholly owned by the federal government. Well, what I would suggest is that, if we want to invest more in the production of nuke as opposed to other forms of energy production, whether it's methane, fossil fuel, or whatever, I'm all about that. And I understand that costs money. And I can understand where Jared's coming from when he says that the ability to build what did he use? $10 billion as a point? Now, a number of you on the super text line have said that the Hartsville nuclear plant is like halfway in production, I think. Half built. I'd be all about finishing it. I don't think the attitude in 2025 that we have regarding nuclear power is the same as even 20 or 25 or 30 or 35 years ago. When I was growing up, I was born in 1973. When I became vaguely socially aware of the news that was around me, nuclear power and the energy produced by nuclear power, I mean, it was just bad, bad, bad. It was going to be the destruction of all of us. We were in the midst of the Red Scare. So at any moment, I mean, I remember when we saw, what was that? Jay, I know that Jackson wouldn't. Jay, do you remember that that television, the day after? Was that what it was?
Yes, Jason Robards, and
it was about a nuclear holocaust, right?
Correct. Yes, what the society would deal with in the aftermath.
And I remember, I have no idea why my mama let me watch it, but she did. I mean, it was a television event, baby.
Yeah, it was. I recall that.
And it scared the holy bejesus out of me. I mean, I remember in the aftermath of that and with everything that was surrounding the arms race, I remember as a kid, we lived in the middle of the country. I mean, for a minute, I lived with my stepfather and my mother and my brother and my sister out in the middle of nowhere. And I remember, like it was yesterday, being outside and looking up at the stars and wondering when, not if, but when the Soviet Union was going to rain down nuclear bombs on me. I mean, the fear was real enough in my little 11-year-old brain that I thought it would happen at any moment. And obviously that wasn't the case. I mean, but we were scared as hell. I mean, you don't even get it there, Jackson. You even missed the only fear that you might have experienced along those lines was the fear that America and the world experienced regarding Y2K.
I was born one day before Y2K.
December 31st, 1999. I got it. You're a Prince baby. You know what it is? Do you know what Y2K is?
Yeah, it was that all the computers in the world were going to shut down. Did you guys have to do those drills in school?
We did. No, we missed Holocaust drills. That was more 60s and 1970s. We weren't doing those by the 1980s. At least that's not what they called them. They called them tornado drills.
Well, I did tornado drills.
But they were very – did you go out into the hall and
tuck your tail between your legs?
Yeah, head down, ass up. Yeah.
That's not going to do anything in a tornado.
You know, I didn't feel like that either.
I don't think, like,
I just,
put you in a good position to kiss your butt goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. I mean, if the wall goes, I mean, we're all going with it. But, I guess it's as good as anything. But, we went through those drills, and I always felt like they were just, facsimiles of nuclear power drills. Anyway, it scared the hell out of me. I mean, the hell out of me. And so I understand our generation growing up just with a generalized fear of not only nuclear arms, but nuclear power. Well, it is the future. It is clean. It is safe. And by the way, I have nothing against the free market exploring. Underline those words, free market. The free market exploring solar, wind, various forms of alternative energy. I love what Elon Musk has done with Tesla, even though I don't like the subsidies very much. I don't like the idea of the government subsidizing the free market when it comes to attracting us to the idea of electric vehicles. But if we are to advance ourselves as a society, that's all well and good. That's fine. But we don't have to abandon fossil fuels. We don't have to abandon coal. We have to abandon natural gas. Why would we? We shouldn't. Dina is next up. I think it's Dina. Is that right, Dina?
Yep, that's right.
Hey, Dina.
Hey, I don't have an opinion on the TVA. I just wanted to call and say welcome back. I'm glad that your surgery went well. I'm in Bellevue, and everybody has missed you. Just welcome back. Good to hear your voice again.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Dina. I guess, is that it? I guess that's it. Oh, I guess that was it. She kind of went away there. Did you send her away? Did you think that was over?
I thought it was over.
Oh, okay. So, Dina, if you had anything else to say, that's on Jackson, not on me. Give us a call back.
You hung up on her.
I thought she was gone. I thought she left. Dina, you're very kind. Thank you. I'm getting a lot of that because, listeners, I've been back a couple weeks almost now. I guess last Monday was my first day back after 2 weeks off. The longest I've taken off in my 25 years of doing talk radio, and I hated every second of it because I want to be with you. I truly love these 4 hours that we have in the afternoon together. Just as, considering that Dina brought it up, for those interested, entering week number 2 of PT, it is getting a little more advanced. We're not just movement, but we're doing a little bit of strength training. I got up to 140 degrees.
How'd that feel?
Like someone was trying to rip my arm out of its socket. That's the best way that I can. I mean, I don't begrudge it. I know I've got to go through it, but so we're getting our range of motion back on the other shoulder. And if you consider, if you're lying on your back and you're sticking your arm straight in the air, that's a 90-degree angle. And then the further you go back toward your head, the closer you get to 180 degrees. And the idea is you'll get as close as possible to 180 degrees. We got my shoulder rotation to 140 degrees yesterday. And the sensation is like, Jackson, your arm is about to pop out of the socket. And I am assured repeatedly by Dr. Abigail, who is my physical therapist, that that is not going to happen. But I do not believe her. But we're doing some more therapy, and it's getting interesting. But I'm just trying to get out of this sling, man. Positive pain versus negative pain. This is the way we look at it. For years, I experienced negative pain. Now, every bit of pain that I experience is positive pain, and it's a means to an end. George, we'll get to you next, 52 after the hour. Plus, we'll cover some of the 7th Congressional District race. The candidates are moving and shaking, and I wonder if you are coming down in any corner yet. I mean, I understand it's July, and the primary election is not slated until October, but are we picking sides yet? Because the candidates want you to pick as quickly as possible. I remain Switzerland on the 7th Congressional District race. It's 52 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Tennessee Men's Clinic. They now have 2 locations to serve you. Their Midtown location opened in 2014. So ever popular, they opened a new location a couple of years ago in Cool Springs. So now either of those locations can offer you the same fabulous service that Evan Bass and his team of urologists have been offering since 2014. And what services are those? Men-centric health services that can get you back into the game, fellas. Look, if you've noticed, you've noticed. And if you know, you know. You want someone that can give you the lowdown, tell you what your options are, and get you back into the game when it comes to intimacy and those special times during your romantic partnership. Let's get back into that game by calling the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Don't trust some online site. You don't talk to people. Don't trust pills that rarely work. You need to talk to the guys at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They're your local source for all things ED and the things that might impact you in terms of testosterone loss. Give them a call at 615-208-9090, 208-9090, or online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
A new bill now is law in the fight against fentanyl. And a Nashville man brandishing a weapon during a June traffic stop. He was apprehended yesterday. We'll have that and more at 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, I just talked to Malinoff. He said he's going to spice it up in the traffic center. I said, come on, baby. We know that traffic's bad. We know it sucks out there on the roadways. You don't have to tell us. I mean, I guess actually technically you do if you're in the traffic center. It's your job to tell us.
And we don't have to deal with it. So he is actually telling us.
Yeah, but he's also telling the folks that are in the midst of it. So, maybe you guys don't mind the solemn nature of his traffic reports. I mean, maybe it's better. I mean, I suppose that saying, if you're on 440, it's pretty bad out there today. We've got a 2-car accident that's causing a major backup between 24 and 65. Maybe that's better than being all happy about it. I don't know. 615-737-9986. Jason says, go tickle KGB so he will sound happy. Jason? No. John wants to know, did you get it, Matt? Daddy went to work for the TVA, bought a washing machine, and then a Chevrolet. Oh.
Alabama.
Is that Alabama?
Yep.
I would not have gotten it, John. I try to be honest with you guys, and I would not have pulled that. But Jay Harper is on top of it. So the show got it right. Hey, Cameron Smith's coming by in a moment. We'll continue the breakdown. We'll talk about the 7th congressional district race. Democrats now suddenly, after 4 years of not seeming to care about the Epstein files, which is just a joke. All of that to come. Here's not a joke. We got news. That's right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for listening.
Good afternoon. It's 5 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A full forecast and another traffic report are on the way. President Trump signing the Halt Fentanyl Act into law today, permanently making these drugs Schedule I drugs and increasing the chances for prosecution for those involved in the shipments. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang.
Fentanyl has been a big focus for this president. It's also something that he campaigned on. President Trump has even used tariffs as a reason to punish countries that he believes aren't doing enough to stop the flow of fentanyl across the border into the United States. He has used that as a justification for imposing tariffs on Canada, on countries like Mexico, and he's also used that as an argument for tariffs on China.
A convicted felon arrested in East Nashville yesterday afternoon on multiple outstanding warrants stemming from a traffic stop last month. That would be Marcus Smith, 47 years of age. He was stopped back on June 26 for driving a vehicle with an illegal license plate. Metro Nashville police say that when the officer walked up to the vehicle, he saw the driver holding a handgun. Police says he then raised it before driving off. Police interviewed Smith after his arrest, and he admitted to being the driver from that traffic stop. Additionally, Smith was found with a handgun and illegal drugs when he was apprehended yesterday in Madison. The Smyrna Police Department, they've identified that guy yesterday that was that active shooter at that liquor store. You heard about it all yesterday afternoon. According to a news release from the Smyrna Police Department, Renaud Broaden, he was arrested as a result of that incident that occurred at the Legacy Wine and Spirits on Lee Victory Parkway. Police said Broaden shot his gun a number of times at multiple employees in the business. Smyrna Police, the Murfreesboro Police Department, Rutherford County Sheriff's Office, and Laverne Police Department people arrested Broaden after an hours-long barricade situation. Well, he's now facing the following charges: Take a deep breath. Aggravated robbery, 3 counts of aggravated assault on a law enforcement officer, and felony theft of a firearm. The following charges are still pending, according to police: felony vandalism, attempted arson, felony reckless endangerment, and others. It's not known why this man did this. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. In Laverne, I-24 eastbound, just before Old Hickory Boulevard, a crash reported. An injury accident still being worked. Old Hickory Boulevard, west of Nolensville Pike. Still have a wreck in another part of Laverne, Old Hickory Boulevard at I-24. And in Smyrna, we still are dealing with the right lane being blocked from this earlier crash, result of vehicles hitting potholes and then vehicles hitting other vehicles. This would be 24 eastbound, just past Sam Ridley Parkway. We have your traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you until 7 o'clock tonight. Thank you for being with us, whatever time you're able to give us. We're certainly appreciative. We're monitoring the traffic situation for you. I told KGB to act a little more, act a little happier about what is not and what could be, although it's pretty bad in a few spots, as you might expect on a Wednesday afternoon. We'll keep you safe and sound as best we can and get you home with perhaps a little more information in your head and a smile on your face. Jay Harper's got the news. Jackson's controlling the experience. I'm your humble host, and we welcome on these Wednesdays together our own Cameron Smith. He is He writes for the Tennessean. He is the star of the podcast, All the Best Words. He is also the manager and the entire band. I would like to say that I'm in the band, but I'm really not.
If it makes you feel better, nobody is.
Right. So I just want the billing that I was an original member of Wasted Bacon when Wasted Bacon came into being, and that I immediately left the group for a solo career.
I think that's fair. We'll add that into the bio and the storyline.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about Wasted Bacon because Wasted Bacon became a thing.
It did.
It was a joke and it became a thing.
Yeah, now it's a thing that's going to come to life August 1st.
Like, you can literally buy an album.
Yes.
Online.
Buy it, stream it, all the stuff.
What was we talked price point last week. Was it $6.99?
I think so. I got to check. I pushed all the capital buttons. But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter because
it's well worth your money.
It's probably worth $400 an album, probably. But the good news about this is when we talked about it, we said in the hilariously unlikely event that any of this stuff catches on, that the proceeds in excess of the cost of making it, we're going to donate to Men of Valor.
Men of Valor, what a wonderful organization, and every single dollar above and beyond what it has already cost Cameron to produce all of this, which, believe it or not, there are a lot of costs.
Yeah, shockingly. But my time has been totally worth it and fun for you guys. And what I really hope, maybe Jason won't do it because he knows me too well, that some of you will hear this and you're going to critique the music as a serious effort when the words are things like, or the songs are things like Thick Cut, Meat Candy, Donnie and the Rocket Man. I want to engage you seriously in a critique of this.
Did the raccoon song make it?
Randy the Raccoon is on it.
I love that.
I mean, guys, this is going to be fun. And so, but some of y'all are going to be like, well, as a musical endeavor, I'm not sure about this. And the answer is neither am I.
I didn't like that chord progression, Cameron.
What did you do? And I'm like, well, as people know, I have a prolific rap career outside of talk radio and being a columnist over at the Tennessean. And so Splain It Like I'm Slow is just the latest, really.
So for those watching, if you're just listening to the mellifluous tones of Cameron Smith, and several of you are already commenting that they feel like it's been over a month of Sundays since they've heard your voice because you've been away. And I mean, you were actually back last week, but whatever. I mean, maybe they weren't. Jason, as a matter of fact, the aforementioned, said, I haven't heard Cameron speak in over a month. There's my favorite commie.
Yeah. I mean,
fair.
Yeah. I mean, me and what's his face in New York City, we're homeboys.
No, you taught me earlier. We full disclosure, we've got a new edition of All the Best Words, our podcast, dropping tonight on the YouTubes and all of the other channels.
Yeah,
and I think Mom Donnie,
I think that's right,
is going to be a subject of either this or the next one. And you taught me how to say his name. It's Mom Donnie.
Yeah, I think it's Zoran.
Mom Donnie. I don't know. Socialist.
Socialist.
Mom Donnie.
Who's going to discourage the use of globalize the Antifada?
9901 says, I was the one who suggested Thick Cut as a track. I totally agree with donating to Men of Valor. Well, I mean, it's good to get our original benefactors in on the decision-making process. Sure.
Thick Cut is the album name.
Yeah, so Thick Cut is...
and a track.
And for those who missed it, Cameron and I were at an event, a Men of Valor Breakfast, which is an annual event they hold at the Music City Convention Center. And in the aftermath of the event, we were saying our goodbyes and saying hello to everybody and yada, yada, yada. And it's huge. I mean, it's like 1,800 people in a room together. Big event. And they're feeding everybody at once. And the food was delicious, especially when you consider that they have to feed that many people at one time. There were eggs. There was like little tomatoes on the plate. And
it was great.
And I think there was asparagus or some sort of green. And then there was bacon. And I mentioned to Cameron that the amount of wasted bacon that we are looking at. I mean, I said we both lamented the fact that we did not have a large gallon-sized
to put in our
bag
pockets
so that we could just walk around and grab up the wasted bacon and take it home with us. And then we also both agreed that wasted bacon would make a great band name.
And that should have been where the conversation ended.
Yes.
And alas.
But the next time you were on, you spent the entire conversation creating songs through AI in the name of Wasted Bacon.
So it was really, I remember that show because it was for me, it's a very short story, actually. My next door neighbor had told me about this platform that you could use to like turn your lyrics into songs, right? And I love to write, so that was something that I did. And so I was like, man, I'll look this up and I'll try it. And so while we were on the air, I realized, man, I think I could actually do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spent an inordinate amount of time. You can ask my wife because my sweet wife got to listen to me for the last several months. It's like, sweetie, hey, listen to this version.
You gotta hear this.
Tell me what you think. And the problem is that'd be cool on like the serious songs because I did write some serious songs that are going to come out differently. But songs like Render the Fat. I mean, that's the song. And so
didn't you do Swamp Ass?
So Swamp Ass didn't make the cut. The standards were high. They were very high.
Just not throwing any flim-flam ridiculousness on this album. This is a serious album.
Yeah, the Pronoun song made it.
Well, as it would.
Yeah. I mean, so we've got some great ones. Throat Coat, Dan Mandis' song made it.
Throat Coat was one of the originals.
It was. We've got Voices on the Line that references several listeners to your show.
How about that?
Washington's Wasted and We're Americans. I mean, the chorus says, we beat Nazis, Soviets, and a China virus. You don't get that level of musical talent anywhere else.
That's true. So look out for Wasted Bacon. It's dropping, what, August 1st?
August 1st, man.
And it'll just, whatever it costs you, know that once we cover the cost of Cameron doing all of this, because there's programs and there's
And I'll tell you guys, like once we, I'll come on the air and we'll say, here's what we're going to do.
And then everything else goes to Men of Valor as they were the inspiration for the entire thing. So what do you want to talk about?
Man, unfortunately, there's never a slow news day anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I
feel like it should be dealer's choice, and you're the dealer.
Man, I think the big one right now is Trump's about face on Ukraine and what Vladimir Putin's going to do here. I mean, Trump is literally thrown down.
You know, and I'm glad that you went there, because I understand that there's a lot of frustration about the Epstein deal.
Yeah, I get that.
And no matter your opinion on it, it is a very frustrating topic, especially for Trump supporters. Because some Trump supporters would suggest, leave it alone. You're beating a dead horse. Move on from it. Nothing to be seen. Nothing to be done. Others are like me. We're very disappointed in Donald Trump as to how he has handled this, and we hope that we'll get the transparency.
Well, you're a lot nicer and more diplomatic than me because you're referring to the thoughtful people and then what I call the retweeters.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who think through this, and look, Chris Hand and I, we go, around and around because we have a different perspective on policies. But I'll tell you what, he's been consistent on this issue and thoughtful and saying, hey, this really bothers me. I think this is inconsistent. This is not what Trump said he was campaigning on. And that's thoughtful. That is a thoughtful approach to what we're seeing right now. But then the retweeters are whatever Trump posts on Truth Social, they don't have any sort of internal thoughtfulness about this. It's just he said it. That is the way. And that's it. And I think that's crazy to let any politician, even one you really like, dictate your thoughts.
And you know what bothers me about it more than anything is that whether they know it or not, that's how Democrats act.
That's true.
And I think better.
It's groupthink.
I mean, right? It's, I'm told to walk this way.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't there a cliff over there? Don't think about that cliff. Just walk. I don't do that. And I'm not trying to get relitigated. But the lost in this has been Donald Trump's, what I consider to be a very thoughtful approach in the 6 months that he has been president in his second term with Russia and Ukraine.
Yes.
Now, Donald Trump wants to make sure that everyone knows that this was not his war. And he wants to make sure that everyone knows that because he talks about it every time it seems he brings it up, that none of this would have happened under his watch. And, he may be right. He may be wrong. I don't know. But I do know this. It didn't happen under his watch. But he's now president. He's got to deal with it. Do you agree, and I think you do because we talked about this a little bit on the podcast, with that he came at this honest. I think he genuinely believed that he could get in there, that he could get Zelensky sat down, he could get Putin sat down, and he was going to be able to handle this very quickly.
Yeah, and he behaved, and I got to eat a little crow here, and I don't mind doing it, that Trump behaved like a diplomat on this. It's my job to state my perspective and my opinion on things. Russia's clearly the aggressor here. They're not a good actor. They don't share our values. I can go down the list. Trump's job is to be a diplomat to solve these global issues.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things now it seems that he was doing is saying, okay, what do I got to say to get Putin to the table? If I'm very pro-Ukraine, Ukraine this, very much like Joe Biden, Putin wasn't going to come to the table. He said, well, like there were a lot of things here, and which made people like me really mad because I'm like, no, they attacked them. But his point,
why don't you publicly denounce the guy that you're and I know why you do it, because there is a bad person.
Right. It's like, why is this so hard? And the answer is, well, it's not, but I'm trying to get this guy to the table so we can get a deal here to stop people from dying. Then Putin continues to just do whatever he wants. And at some point, Trump's like, you're making me look like an idiot here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've talked to you about this, but I think it was brilliant of Trump to ask the Ukrainian officials, hey, do y'all have anything that could hit Moscow? Because he's telegraphing to Putin, hey, if you want to keep playing this game where you do what you want and make me look like a dummy, then there will be consequences. And, hey, do you realize we have the capacity to reach out and touch somebody in Russia? And we can give that to Ukraine. And do you think they're going to use it or not?
Donald Trump, and I'm trying to find the clip too. He got actually, I think it's on my X. Let me try to find it. He got a laugh, and I don't think he said this to be humorous on the Russia front when he talked about how he has changed his position and why he's doing what he's doing today. And I want to get to the idea of missiles hitting Moscow in just a moment. But he came out and he was discussing how he would be on the phone with Vladimir Putin. And, it's not the same conversation in which he said he was just spewing BS, but he actually said the BS. But he said, I'd be on the phone with him and I would think that we would have a great call. And then I would get off the phone and I would go back home and I would see Melania. Okay, here it is. I'm going to let him say it as opposed to me saying it. Here's what Donald Trump said. And I don't think he intended this to be a laugh line. I think it got some laughs because of the irony of the thing. But here's what
times I'd get home, I'd say, First Lady, I had the most wonderful talk with Vladimir. I think we're finished. And then I'll turn on the television, or she'll say to me one time, wow, that's strange because they just bombed a nursing home. I said, what?
I mean, but that provides me such, I believe that happened.
Yeah.
That he comes home and he's like, man, I had a great, we're getting, bragging, we're getting it done. Really? Because they just bombed a nursing home.
Yeah, because that would happen to me at my house.
Right? Right. I mean, and how relatable is that?
Yeah.
Where your wife goes, oh, really? I think Melania, based on that conversation, has created a kind of a refocus. It's like, what's my goal here? And if this dude is just going to keep stringing me along, then it's time to kind of start taking sides, which he's obviously done.
Well, and he's not a dupe in the respect of he knows when he's getting the runaround. He just thought it wouldn't happen and thought at some point Putin's going to come to the table.
Right.
And he just didn't because, and this is where I think Trump is missing it a little bit, this is an aging authoritarian who wants to get the old gang back together, the Soviet bloc countries. He doesn't really have anything to lose other than just not accomplishing it. But I don't think he's one of these guys that's going to sit down and say, well, I'm just going to hang out here. That's just not in his DNA. He wants to continue to grow glory for Russia. And that's a problem.
In the meantime, there's another domestic policy that I want to talk about involving $9.4 billion in cuts that is currently before the United States Senate. And whether or not it happens remains to be seen. But look, I think we have to applaud this. I had a lot of concerns about the BBB, the Big Beautiful Bill that became the Big Beautiful Law because it didn't cut enough. But now we're seeing kind of an additional effort to see this happen. J.D. Vance broke a tie-breaking vote, and he might have to do some of that again. We'll talk about it next. It's 24 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Efficient heating and cooling provides peace of mind when it comes to your AC unit. When Jeff Eddy or one of his team members comes out to your home, you're not getting someone that's going to upsell you on a new air conditioner off the jump, right? I mean, and sadly, it happens a lot in the HVAC industry that they just default to, hey, you need a new unit. Those things cost a lot more. They make the company a lot more money, and it's a lot more clarity for you. But if you don't need it, you're leaving money on the table. If you can get another year or 2 or 3 or 8 out of your AC unit, why in the world wouldn't you? Jeff Eddy's going to insist that every tech that works for him provides that level of quality customer service, and they default to fixing the unit. And only if it is unfixable, if it is monetarily unfeasible, do they report that it is time for a new one. They're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. When that happens, and they can advise you as to the best unit for you and your family. EfficientHVAC.net if there's any trouble. EfficientHVAC.net or call 615-784-4424. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. The Wellness Institute of Nashville wants to help you with your pain, and right now they are offering an incredible special that I've been pretty clear that I had to look at 3, 4, 5 times before I could believe it because it's pretty special. They call it the Big Daddy Trump Special. $12 for a comprehensive examination, x-rays if needed, a diagnosis explanation, and your first treatment. All in one visit. And all at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. $12. That's what I'm talking about. Call 615-246-5009, 246-5009 for more information about the Big Daddy Trump Special. Donald Trump did not give up on the American people, and Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, they're not giving up on you. I made the switch to Dr. Mitch, and now I encourage you to do the same. The Wellness Institute of Nashville has my seal of approval. Go to painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com. If you're hurting anywhere, they can assist you. Painisbad.com or call 615-246-5009.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, he weighs in on this whole Epstein thing. And a powerful earthquake in Alaska. We'll have those stories coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We want wasted bacon merch. I mean, that's not me saying that, Cameron, although I would say that. That's them saying that. 2489 says, we want WB merch. They demand it. The people have spoken. Well, the person has spoken. I wouldn't say the people. The person has spoken.
I don't want them to be left wanting. So I guess I'll have to figure it out.
You're the man.
We're just going to keep making things.
I'm here to sit on your long coattails and have you slide me to the finish line as long as you're willing.
I don't know what the finish line here is, Matt. I just don't know.
Right now, if you're not watching on the Super Talk television side of things, someone asked if we coordinated our Hawaiian shirts. We did not coordinate our Hawaiian shirts. Secondarily, mine is a motorcycle shirt. Thank you very much.
Looks like motorcycles in Hawaii, though.
I mean, yeah, but you know that it's a motorcycle shirt because
there's bug pieces on it.
No, there's no collar. The collars are much smaller because I learned this. Because you don't want the collar flapping you.
Oh, okay.
You'd get flapped. Because that collar,
it's a flapper.
That's a flapper. You don't want that. Secondarily, I encourage you to go over to Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and now Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble, and look at Cameron Smith and tell me that he doesn't look like a frat boy that's ready to have an intramural softball game bust out.
My whole life, man. Like, from actually being a frat guy to just the rest of it. People are,
Teak?
No.
Pike?
No.
You were one of those smarty pants fraternities, weren't you?
Fiji.
I don't know what that
Phi
means.
Gamma Delta.
I don't know what. I just said the two most insulting. I mean, I don't even know if that's true. I just the two that I remember were always insults. Were you a pike or a teak? I don't even know what it means.
Just Greek letters.
Is it insulting to call somebody a teak?
Jason says he wants a wasted bacon swimming thong. Can you imagine just strips of bacon like that?
Extra small. 615-737-9986. Time for the news. Nincompoops on the way next.
Good afternoon, 31 minutes past 5 o'clock. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories, a full weather forecast, and an updated traffic report coming up. Well, President Trump has asked his most ardent supporters to back off after so many expressed their anger following the dismissal by the Justice Department and the FBI last week of the long-awaited Epstein files. There was a time when House Speaker Mike Johnson wanted that so-called blackmail list kept by the deceased financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein to be made public. But he appears to be relaxing his stance as reporters pressed him in the halls of Capitol Hill today if he was still interested in that client list. Here's his response.
I have been misquoted and misrepresented on all of that. Go watch the interview I did with Benny Johnson. I'm very clear. I mean, we're for transparency.
Some of the most dedicated Trump supporters have called for Attorney General Pam Bondi to be fired. But Speaker Johnson said she just needed to clarify her statement, claiming he's on the same page with the president. A powerful 7.3 magnitude earthquake off the Alaska Peninsula prompted a tsunami warning today. Here's ABC's Alex Stone.
The earthquake was over 50 miles off the coast of Sand Point, Alaska. People in towns in the region were told to get to higher ground in case of a tsunami. Jody Stevens is an Alaska native now living in Oregon who is in Seward for her high school reunion.
We evacuated up the hill, and about the time we got to the top of the, evacuation zone, the all clear sign came on.
They never felt the shaking. She says it got the all clear and everything pretty much went back to normal.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. In Laverne, a wreck is reported 24 eastbound just before Old Hickory Boulevard. That would be at exit 2. Also, Bell Road at Mountain View Road, a crash reported. Charlotte Avenue at 19th Avenue North, we've got a wreck. And if you go out west in the Pegram area, Charlotte Pike at Newsom Station Road, we picked up a crash there. And still in Smyrna, boy, this has just been there forever. This right lane still being affected by a crash earlier, 24 eastbound, just past Sam Ridley. Look for slowdowns, at least residual backup. Oh, and in the Arrington area, Williamson County, this just appeared, 840 eastbound at exit 42. We've got a crash reported there. That's at the Horton Highway exit. We've got your traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is nice to know that we have Shane Ring in our community to answer any and all health insurance questions that we might have. Shane is not a call center agent, never will be, and he just doesn't run his business that way. As a matter of fact, the business model is even different because, sadly, a lot of those call centers, they don't tell you this is the case, but they're trying to sell you one particular insurance program, one particular plan, one particular product. Shane has a vast array of products on the marketplace that he can look at as to what might be best for you. He can change deductibles. He can change coverage items at your decision-making because everybody's different, right, folks? So if you don't know whether you're paying too much, if you don't know if you're getting the proper insurance for you, if you don't know if you're fully covered in particular ways, you need to call Shane at Cover Nash or sit down with him in his Brentwood office. He's available to you. Don't get taken advantage of. Don't overpay. Call Shane today. CoverNash.com or 615-465-0023. 465-0023 and tell Shane Matt Murphy sent you to Cover Nash. So, friends, Matt Murphy for Eurofix. Have you noticed how unreliable things have become these days? Like when somebody tells you something will be ready at, 4 o'clock and it's not ready. People are tired of that stuff. Friends, if you've had unreliable vehicle repair in the past, go to Eurofix. Eurofix turns unreliable into reliable, and Eurofix has your vehicle ready when it's really ready so you don't have to wait around for the thing. Eurofix also repairs all European cars with quality that beats the dealer without dealer pricing. It's because, and let's just pull the curtain back here, folks, Dealer repair shops are designed to pay virtually all of the overhead at a dealership. You shouldn't have to pay for that. At Eurofix, reliable means a 3-year nationwide warranty, a free loaner car with every repair appointment. Call ahead on those loaner cars because they are very popular. If you're tired of unreliable, go to reliable. Eurofix. Call 844-EUROFIX, 844-EUROFIX, or visit myeurofix.com. Hey, got a couple of these. Josh writes in and says the Wasted Bacon logo T-shirt should picture what is clearly a highly intoxicated piece of bacon lounging in an open-top trash can. You're welcome, Josh.
I mean, Josh, that sounds good, but, like, I don't even know what a highly intoxicated piece of bacon.
Oh, I do.
Like a pig, maybe.
I mean, just all right. So imagine a piece of bacon, okay, and now imagine that piece of bacon has little googly eyes and little stick arms with white gloves on.
Okay, if we add that, I got you.
You got me. And now the googly eyes are all spinny, and one of the white gloves has got a little cocktail with a. Hey,
but it would be classy bacon.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, classy cocktail.
9080 says Wasted Bacon logo, drunk pig holding a drink. Now that's. I mean, there you go.
If y'all go check out I've tweeted it out, and Matt and I have redone it. You can see the logo, the album cover is on the like landing page where you can do the Spotify pre-save, and you can see the album cover, and you can look at it in all its glory.
Absolutely love it, love it. We'll continue talking about it, but right now, we've got more news to cover. We will continue to break down Trump, Russia, Ukraine. We will continue to break down, much to the delight of some, to the chagrin of others, the Epstein deal. But it is time to turn our attention away from the world of politics and turn our attention. Wait a minute. That doesn't work, does it? I almost said away from politics and toward the nincompoops. It's kind of the same thing. But let's just focus on the nincompoops, shall we? Nincompoops in the news time!
Nincompoops in the news!
It is time to scour all across the state of Tennessee. We'll look all over the United States of America, nay, the globe. And on these Wednesdays, we get 4 separate nincompoop stories, with Jay Harper subbing in for Ken Weaver. Jackson Williams is on top of things. Cameron Smith claims to never look into this until the music sounds, and then he does it very quickly. And then there's me, Matt Murphy, desperate and looking for a win, although I won yesterday. Won yesterday and get to go first today. Gentlemen, how we doing? Everybody doing all right?
Doing good.
Yeah? You got yourself a nincompoop, Jackson?
Oh, I've got one, Brother Murphy.
Yeah, you feel good about it?
I feel pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty confident. It's not my best.
But you know what? Only the mediocre have to bring their best all of the time.
Exactly.
Think on that one for a minute. Jay Harper is with us as well. Jay, you got yourself an nincompoop back there.
Yeah. I've come up with something. We'll see how it goes.
All right. So we have recreated the standard that the winner from the day before gets to go first the day of. And believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe, but I was the winner yesterday. I don't know that I'm winning with this story today, but I absolutely love it. Let's go to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where a truck hauling a dump trailer full of eggs spilled its load. A truck hauling approximately 20,000 rotten eggs, spilled its load Wednesday morning, according to city officials. That would be today? Is this today or last week? This is today. And this story was updated. Man, oh man, this is nincompoops in the news, hot off the presses, updated less than an hour ago. The truck was taking old eggs from an industrial plant in Greenfield to a mulch facility in Peach Bottom. I repeat, in Peach Bottom. According to Lancaster City Bureau of Fire Chief DeLong, the truck spilled eggs in 2 different locations. The first spill happened along Route 30, the exit ramp to East Walnut Street. The second larger spill happened at the intersection of East Walnut Street and Pleasure Road. Wouldn't you like to live on Pleasure Road? The Roads had to be closed down for what is described as hours as the cleanup took place. According to DeLong, quote, bulk liquid egg is very slippery. They have been quite a bit. They have also quite a bit of odor. And frankly, they're an environmental hazard when in water. Well, who knew? According to crews at the scene, the recent storms led to rain collecting in an open dump trailer, causing the eggs to float. In other words, these eggs were put in an open dumpster that was hauled by a trailer. Y'all with me? Well, a lot of rain came along, and all of these rotten eggs floated. And so the eggs floated to the top of the trailer, and when the trailer took corners, a bunch of the eggs would spill out. According to DeLong, the trucking company is responsible for the cleanup. Public Works crews and Lebanon County Hazmat were at the scene as of earlier today, to which I say it's time for officials on the scene to...
All right now, get mad at them damned eggs.
That's right, get mad at them damned eggs. I did the entire story so I could do the clip from Cool Hand Luke. And that is my nincompoop in the news.
Wow.
Thank you. Cameron, you're a nincompoop, sir.
So I've got one out of Alabama. This is great. A Demopolis woman was arrested after allegedly stabbing a man with a butcher knife and chasing a person with a crowbar at a Walmart Tuesday.
All right. Roll Tide!
Demopolis police officer arrives to Walmart on reports of a possible active shooter situation. They were made aware it wasn't an active shooter, but that someone had been stabbed. And Kiera Carter, 32, allegedly came into the store, picked up a crowbar and a butcher knife, and began assaulting a 29-year-old woman with the crowbar. She began chasing the female in the store with the crowbar. A man attempted to take the crowbar away and was stabbed. They were transported to Whitfield Regional Hospital and were fine. But
you got mugshots?
Sadly, I don't right now. I was looking for them, but this is.
What do you have names?
Yes.
I just want to hear. I just before I guess, I want to hear a name.
Kiera Carter.
Kiera Carter.
Yep, and they don't say the names of the victims.
I mean, I'd be willing to bet good money that Kiera is a Bama fan.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. Roll Tide.
Sounds like she probably crossed the line.
Does it upset you as an Alabama Crimson Tide fan and a University of Alabama alum to know that when I see somebody doing something stupid in sort of a redneck way, my go-to phrase is to look at who I'm with and go, Roll Tide.
Do you know that when I do something stupid in a redneck way,
you say Roll Tide?
I say Roll Tide.
Yeah.
And I'm an Alabama fan. I think it's great. That's like my Leroy Jenkins, right? You know, when we're going to go full send redneck.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Well, they did a commercial. I mean, they did the whole campaign about it on
man.
ESPN.
I mean.
Good for y'all.
Could be worse.
I mean, it could be. Nobody's saying go Dogs.
Y'all do that weird, like.
I wish we would bark less.
I think y'all should bark more.
I sincerely wish we would bark
I think
less.
y'all should bark more. I think Hugh Freeze should golf more. And
he went all in on it, too.
He did. Love it.
I mean, good for you, buddy.
I mean,
it's going to be fine until you lose. And when you start losing, it's not fine anymore.
No, Auburn should keep Hugh Freeze forever. He's a national treasure.
Agreed. As two big fans of teams that play him every year. Agreed.
It's just great. I mean, the football seasons are coming. I've got all my boys in football, and I am just, my soul can breathe again. The dark times are almost over.
Mm-hmm. Jackson, speaking of football fandom, how's that quarterback, buddy?
Looking like it's going to be 2 W's, one on the third Saturday of October and one on the third week of the football season.
Confidence. Yeah, I love the way that football breeds confidence. We figure out ways. I have figured out a way that Gunnar Stockton is the next Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm.
Although he looks like Carl from Sling Blade. I posted that last night on my X Machine page. If you missed it, just go look. And I'm a Georgia fan. Jackson, your story, sir.
We're going to Boise, Idaho, as the Ada County Sheriff's detectives looking for masked buttocks slapper.
Obviously.
ADA County Sheriff's Office knows security cameras don't always give them Oscar-worthy footage, but pixelated or not, the behavior they are investigating is no joking matter. Detectives are looking into several reports involving a suspect on what has been described as a electric dirt bike. The person has approached multiple people and slapped them or grabbed them on the buttocks area as he passed by. These incidents have occurred between June 18th and July 3rd in the South Boise area. The suspect is described as a white male wearing darker clothing, often all black, and gloves. He has been seen wearing a ski mask resembling either the Call of Duty Ghost skull or Venom-style design. They are asking if you have any information, contact their sheriff's office.
Flapping.
He's flapping up and down Boise, Idaho.
Struck me right on the buttocks.
Do you know that's actually one of my wife's love languages? She likes it when I just come by and pop. Said no woman ever.
Could have gone my whole life without knowing that.
Except your wife.
Yep.
And now everybody knows.
Yep.
And I'm sure she's happy for that.
Yep.
Jay, get Cameron out of this.
All right, moving right along. Not real sure where this occurred. It doesn't say, but this is from an eye doctor. All right. This eye doctor said that he had a patient who read that vitamin D helps you resist a coronavirus infection. Well, it also read that you can get more vitamin D by just getting more sunshine. So he wanted to collect as much light as possible with his eyes.
Oh, no.
As a result, this eye doctor said his patient stared at the sun for over 60 seconds and burned holes directly in his retinas, permanently, partially blinding the man with no chance of future improvement. That, my friends, is a nincompoop.
I mean, that's a nincompoop.
Also a tragedy.
I mean, to your own stupidity created partial blindness. I mean,
I want to criticize, but, yeah, I mean, you do criticize, because that's over the top. But I remember my grandfather was a heavy equipment mechanic. He earth-moving, road equipment, big stuff, right? And so he had an arc welder on the back of it. He had an oxygen and acetylene tank, but he also had an electric welder. And when I was going out with him at 10 or 11 years old, he said, do not watch me weld because it will burn your eyes. And I remember fairly early on in me going out with him, he would weld and he would pull the shield down and he would start welding. And I would glance until, don't look. But then I would glance and it didn't burn my eyes.
Right.
And I'm like, well, what's up with that? It's not burning my eyes. And so I looked a little longer. I lingered. You know when it burns your eyes?
When you linger.
That night. When you linger. Bad. Bad. And my grandfather was like, well, get what, maybe you listen next time, right?
Had to find out the hard way.
I guess, but, and I did not have permanent sight damage as a result. That's a great nincompoop. That's how we play nincompoops in the news, ladies and gentlemen. You have 4 people to vote vote for, I should say, this time around. There's Jay Harper. There's Jackson Williams. There's Cameron Smith. And there's the right way to vote, Matt Murphy. On Super Talk 99.7. Cameron for the win. What? Jason.
He's right.
Come on. What was his name, Jay? Everybody's like, what was his name, Jay?
It was Ray.
It was Ray. His name was Ray. There you go.
Sun Ray.
I see what you did there. 52 after the hour. Don't look directly at the sun. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Grace Point Healthcare is quality health care at a convenient low cost, and it's right there in Franklin, Tennessee. Friends, let's talk about Grace Point. You've heard Grace Point promote their Smart Care plan. Free office visits and free basic labs for just $69 a month. And now, how about this? What was the big, beautiful bill is now the big, beautiful law, and the big, beautiful law is offering you and your family big, beautiful savings. You can use your HSA, your health savings account, to pay for your Smart Care plan. Up to $150 a month for individuals and $300 a month for families. What about that? Ask them more when you make the call that so many others have made to Grace Point Healthcare. Friends, this is functional medicine. Back to school is right around the corner. Beat the rush and get complete school and sports physicals for your children at Grace Point Healthcare. They're providing that as well. I encourage you. I say it all the time, but it is so true. You really can afford exceptional medicine at your convenience. They do it the old-fashioned way, and I love that they do. 599-6868, 599-6868. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way at Grace Point Healthcare.
Well, the president continues to face more pushback from fellow Republicans over this whole Epstein matter, and charges expected later this week against a man accused of killing an American Idol producer and her husband. We'll have those stories coming up at the top of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, that's moments from now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Anonymous Sheriff has written in, he says, I'm writing in Ken Weaver. None of y'all did any naked news. That might be the first time in the history of Nincompoops in the News that nobody did a naked story.
Probably.
I mean, that's true. Jason says KGB is depressed again. Yeah, the traffic's pretty bad. 3225, got to go with the egg story. Brings me back to when I was young and dumb and had egg fights with rotten eggs, chucking eggs and dry heaving. That's good times.
Ugh.
Brother Jay's story about the vitamin DA for the win. And then this rando comment. 5252 writes, and Cameron, I'm going to charge you with the duty of researching this and telling me the last time this happened. I bet you it was 2013. Auburn is beating UGA and Bama this year, Matt. Mark it down. Chad from Carrollton.
All right, Chad.
Okie dokie, Chad.
I want what you're drinking.
Let's go. Let's get one of those for everybody, and let's make that happen. I bet you the last time that happened was 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Time to wrap this up. We got another hour to go on Super Talk.
Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories, a weather forecast, a traffic report. They're coming up. A new law that went into effect July 1st makes pretending to be a rideshare or taxi driver a crime in Tennessee following an armed robbery and fraud incident that took place on Lower Broad in Nashville. According to court documents in March of this year, a man left a bar on Broadway and got into a vehicle that he thought was a rideshare vehicle. And inside the vehicle were 31-year-old Dakota Blunt and another woman who allegedly held the victim at gunpoint, took his phone and wallet, and opened a bunch of credit cards in his name and made about $18,000 worth of charges to his bank account. Metro Police, they finally arrested 31-year-old Dakota Blunt and charged her with felony identity theft, felony property theft, along with felony aggravated robbery and felony aggravated kidnapping. President Trump facing at least some pushback from fellow Republicans over his stance on the Jeffrey Epstein matter. Trump wants his supporters to just stop talking about it all and accuse the sex trafficker of not being relevant. Epstein died from suicide in a federal jail back in 2019. Stephen Portnoy has more.
The president now calls the Epstein matter a, quote, big hoax.
It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
That, despite the number of Trump supporters and officials in his own administration who've spent years demanding the release of the Epstein files and propagating conspiracy theories about them. Missouri Republican Eric Burleson says Trump may be misreading his base.
While it might not be a top priority for him, it certainly is a top priority for a lot of people.
Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego from Arizona, he's introduced a resolution calling on the DOJ to release its files related to the Epstein investigation. And finally, charges are expected later this week against a man accused of killing an American Idol senior producer and her husband in their home after he broke in. Here's Alex Stone in L.A.
22-year-old Raymond Budarian is now under arrest, accused of breaking into the home of Robin Kay and her husband while they were away last Thursday, and when they returned home, shooting and killing them. Police don't believe they were targeted, but that he may have been in the home burglarizing it at the time. Detectives say a gun was found at Budarian's home. Testing is being done now to determine if that was the murder weapon.
That is the latest news, traffic and weather on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. Interstate 65 northbound, right before Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. We've got a poor soul in a stalled vehicle, and they're blocking the 2 center lanes. Also, all of that mess we've had on 24 eastbound past Sam Ridley, they've gotten that out of the way. Once you get past Old Hickory Boulevard on I-24 East, things start to clear out a bit. We also have a crash now, 4th Avenue South, and that's south of Lee Avenue in the Gulch. And in Hermitage, Old Hickory Boulevard at Dodson Chapel Road, a crash there. That's, of course, near Andrew Jackson Parkway. We've got your traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Apparently, things are getting a little crazy in here. So it's the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We thank you for being there. Jackson controlling the experience behind the glass. He'll screen your telephone calls if you want to get them in here. No waiting, 615-737-9986. You don't have to talk about wasted bacon, but, you know, it's a preferred subject, at least for you super texters. You can super text 615-737-9986 as well. Cameron Smith hanging out with us as well as we continue to break down the news of the day and other goofiness and nonsense.
And I tweeted out, just go hashtag wasted and you can see the page I was talking about. So you can
the page,
like the landing page where you can get a reminder from Spotify to go listen to it when it drops.
And yes, there are already people asking, where do we go to get this thing? We want to support you guys, want to support Men of Valor. We appreciate that support. Dropping on August 1.
August 1. And so on the X machine right now at D Cameron Smith, that's my the X account. You can go search for hashtag wasted bacon. You can see it, and it's a DistroKid link that will enable you to stream it, do all the things you need to do so you don't forget.
In the meantime, while we're talking about money, our charitable donations involving our effort to secure an interview with Gloria Johnson are now up to $4,500. We have $4,500 offered. I seeded the well with $1,000. I had one anonymous donor offer another $1,000. Several people, 3, have offered $500 a piece, and then the rest of you make up the $4,500 total. $4,500 to Gloria Johnson. All you have to do is come on the show and talk about Medicaid for an hour with Congressman Tim Burchett. You claim to know a lot about Medicaid. You claim to know a lot about what's going to happen to people in the passage of the big, beautiful bill. We would love to have you on, and apparently you don't see fit to come talk to people that might disagree with you on this, so we thought we would make it a little more interesting. And, it's $4,500 to a non-political charity of your choosing. That's all you have to do is come on and be on with us for an hour.
Can you imagine how many lives could be saved with $4,500?
Yeah, medical research, or, I mean,
all kinds of stuff.
If you want to give to, a shelter, little puppies are dying right now because Gloria Johnson will not come on for an hour.
Right now.
Puppies are dying. Kitty cats are dying.
Right.
Iguana are dying.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Rather common in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Would you ever have a reptile? Do you have a reptile?
Yeah. Maximus Decimus Meridius.
You've told me this.
He's our bearded dragon.
That's right.
He's like a pet rock. I was out gardening the other day.
Like a pet rock.
He was hanging on my shorts. He was having a great time while I was picking tomatoes. He's about a foot long, 18 inches, something like that.
How old?
4 or 5.
How old do they get?
I don't know, 10, 12, something like that.
Hmm.
I mean, he's pretty chill. He hangs out in his cage and then goes outside and plays with me when it's warm.
I had the worst of it because I never liked reptiles. Certainly don't like snakes. I don't
That's fair.
Don't trust anything that can get along that fast without any feet.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's fair, right? So some good friends of mine way back in the day in my 20s, my bachelor days, I would hang out with them at their property. And they had like 10 acres, a couple of dogs, and I'd bring my dog, and we'd have a good time. And they had an iguana.
Yeah, I did. I had one too.
Named Fleetwood.
I had one named Dion.
Oh, that's nice. Well, Fleetwood was great. And slowly, over multiple visits, I learned that iguana, they're not so bad.
Right.
And Fleetwood he wanted to get in your lap and have you pet his spine.
Same.
He dug it, right?
Love it.
I mean, and who doesn't? I do it all the time. And like a damn cat.
Right.
I mean, right?
Without the fur.
Without the fur. But I, learned to love Fleetwood. Well, Fleetwood died.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mike and Carolyn decided that it would be a good idea to be kind of a rescue resource for iguana rescue around the country. So they would literally have iguanas shipped to them from around the countries that nobody else wanted.
You know you can eat them, right?
Uh-huh, I do. So this is where I learned that iguanae, very different personalities.
Yep.
I mean, much like other critters in the wild. I mean, Fleetwood was chill, the best of the iguana.
Yeah.
These other animals?
Spaz.
No, they had one. They had one that they sent back that its favorite thing to do, its favorite thing to do was to hide and jump on you. And it's like a 3-foot iguana.
That sounds like my kids.
Right? Right. And like, if you want to crap your pants, walk down the hallway of somebody's house and turn a corner and an iguana jumps on you from the back.
Yeah. That I can relate to that because we actually have a rule in my house. You can't tackle from the back.
Right. It seems fair.
Yeah. Just
give me a sight line.
Right. If I got to see you coming. I know I can hear you coming, but if from the back's not fair.
I have been accused, and maybe rightly so, as I turn back toward more serious matters, I've been accused, and perhaps it makes sense, that we've not been following or covering enough this Biden mental acuity auto pen situation, which at first it was I won't say fun, but it was a nice enough topic to talk about in a theoretical sense. Like, in theory, what does the Constitution say about this, and where should it be used? I thought Donald Trump had the perfect comment on it. He said, auto pens, we get tens of thousands of letters weekly to the White House.
Right.
And you know what the auto pen's for? And he said this the other day in the White House. He said it's for when an 8-year-old kid writes President Trump and tells President Trump that they want to be president one day. That kid needs to have a letter back. But I can't sign every single one of those letters. That's what the auto pen's for.
Yeah.
And that's fair. He said the auto pen is not to sign major legislation that's going to impact hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people's lives. As the story goes on, though, I think you get to a certain impasse because as long as Joe Biden steadfastly says he knew about all of this and nobody else.
As long as he authorized it, there's no legal thing there. There's no magical, forensically, we can determine this was signed by an auto pen because here's a good example. Legislation where you need co-sponsors in the House of Representatives. All the time, the auto pen is used to sign people onto bills and things like that. The boss has given his authority for the thing, so it's...
Well, but no, what I would argue is not for legislation or whatever. I do think forensically you can determine whether it's auto pen or not.
I mean, the ones that I've seen in D.C. are really good.
Well, I know that. I mean, the signatures are the same, but I think I'm just saying, not whether it's legal or not.
They literally
whether
pause in the right places, like they map perfectly. It's weird.
My question is, if you could hypothetically prove that Joe Biden was not aware of a pardon,
then
I think you might have something.
if you could say that he did not authorize the use of his signature on the pardon, then, and he's not going to.
But that's the problem. He's not going to do it.
He's not going to help you out. Like, you would have to prove that he was not in the White House for a very long time and he had no actual I mean, it would just be ridiculous.
But I bring it up to ask you this. Do you think it's interesting that just more broadly on the conversation of his mental faculties, that instead of like his doctor, instead of saying, you know what, I'm his doctor.
That was weird that he pled the fifth.
He pled the fifth.
I would just be like, look, I have doctor-patient confidentiality.
And I'm not going to talk about this.
And I'm not going to talk about this. And if they now, you know, I've read some analysis that has suggested that in a situation with a congressional subpoena that he's obligated to disclose. And so he doesn't have a similar Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. So he could use that even if the privilege did not apply. So, I mean, I get it. It's just, come on, guys. Like, Joe was not there. We all know it. And yet he was conducting the business of the most important office on the planet.
I mean, I do feel like this is, I think we need to learn lessons from this to perhaps recognize where legal processes perhaps need to be strengthened, because this is a dangerous situation. The elected, and I understand all about the 2020 election cycle, but the elected president of the United States of America had no awareness of decision-making that was going on. That's the belief.
Right.
Now, whether or not that's from a legal standpoint provable is, it's probably not.
Probably not.
However, if we all know that's what was going on, then the question is, all right, is there something that we need to do? I'm not even saying there is. I mean, there are loopholes in the system. Is there something that we need to do to make sure that this never happens again?
Elect younger politicians. I mean, seriously. I mean, this is the part of the problem is we just keep getting older and older, and we keep saying, and I get it. Oh, I mean, I don't have a diplomatic way of saying this, that the elderly have the free time that somebody like me doesn't. I've got to be with my boys, working with them, doing those things, and I sacrifice all that. And I know that there are younger members of Congress. I know there's some that are my age. Senator Katie Britt's a good example.
Is Katie 40 yet?
Yes.
Okay.
She's 43, I think, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But there's this huge sacrifice there. I miss my time with my kids. Older politicians don't have that. They typically have more disposable income. They have more free time. And that's why there's a lot of older politicians that we see. We've got to stop. I mean, I've told you my rule on this is that if you are above the American average life expectancy, I will not vote for you.
Mm-hmm. For anything?
Certainly not for president. What
is that now, 77?
Let me look it up.
I mean, I think Trump is now, 79?
Right. And I wouldn't.
And he's a younger 79, but, I agree with that. The reason I bring it up, we first had the doctor. Now we have an aide of Jill Biden's that has also pleaded the fifth on this topic. You just have a lot of people that are being asked questions as a congressional oversight that are just refusing to answer it. And they want you to believe that we're just going to go along and move away from this subject. And if we get far enough from a time perspective away from it, then we don't have to answer the questions anymore. And my concern is not so much what we can do to go back. And I know that some people want to believe that we can. I just don't see the legal mechanism by which we do it. My concern is how to prevent what could have been a calamity in the White House in the future.
Yeah. One, I don't think there's a simple way to do that. Like, I hear you. I wasn't tongue in cheek. I mean, the average life expectancy for males is 75.8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know mental plasticity, like any number of different things, decline from your high baseline earlier in your life. Like, that's a biological reality in fact. Now, as we've seen, those baselines are not equal. So, like, Joe Biden's decline versus Trump's,
obviously,
it's very different. But I think that's one of the ways of finding younger candidates who, and frankly, Do you want to be governed by a bunch of people whose best years are behind them?
And don't have to take any accountability for the decisions that they make in office, not because they're no longer in office, because they're dead.
Right. I mean, I think one of the biggest shames that you can have is a politician that goes out feet first.
But I hesitate to suggest that there should be any top-end age. But it's a subject. I mean, if we put lower-end age restrictions, if we say, you know what, if you're under 25, you can't serve in the House. If you're under 30, you can't be a senator. If you're under 35, you can't be president.
Yeah.
We recognize that people under those ages have not had the seasoning of wisdom.
Well, that is with brain development. This is,
right?
let's be
well,
more
but
honest.
There's a brain. That's my point, is that on the other end, there's a degradation that happens. That we should recognize, generally speaking, if you're over the age, a non-controversial age, 85. After 85, you don't get to serve as a senator anymore.
Yeah, I'm actually for age limits. And not because I think we should be ageist. I think we should have age limits because we want at 85, you look around, there's not many people your age, okay? We want a representative body for the American people. And so what the impact of, hey, how do these policies impact this generation, those of us who have families and things like that, matter. It doesn't mean the other ones don't, but when you're disproportionately representing a demographic that's on the way out, come on.
I like it. I like it. I think that we should apply the same standard of focus on driving.
Yeah. Now you're hitting the hornet's nest, man.
I'm just telling you. I got very, very lucky in as much as the one experience close to me that I've had, my grandpa said, you know what, I can't see anymore. I'm not driving anymore. I'm going to sell my car, and I can get people to take me to the grocery store because I can't see. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
He was willing to do that. But a lot of people, they aren't.
But it's natural and it's okay, right? Like, your body does start to decline. Like, that's real. Let's be honest about it.
6012 says, I like what y'all are talking about, or at least that's the spirit of this comment. Same should go for overweight politicians. Hey, no more tubbies. Sorry, Chris Christie.
Hey, now you're hitting too close to home.
23 after the hour on Super Talk. We mentioned Men of Valor, the beneficiary of any and all proceeds from the sale of the Wasted Bacon album. In all seriousness, if you've not been over to movministry.com, please go and see the wonderful work that Men of Valor truly is doing. They are saving souls. They are saving people for the next life, but they're also making better people in this life. I've heard so many testimonials, and I've become a softie as I get older, and it really does it really does tear me up. To hear some of the stories about how men recognized the takers that they were, how they had no respect for life, they had no respect for the rule of law, no respect for other people, and then they started Bible study in prison. They started ministry with the good volunteers from Men of Valor, and they came to understand Jesus Christ, and they came to a life of Christ. It's a wonderful, wonderful story that we hear over and over again, but it takes your dollars and your volunteerism. Go to movministry.com, and don't forget to save the date for October 1st. It is the big second annual gala from Men of Valor. It's happening in Franklin at the factory. Tim Tebow and Demi Lee Tebow will be there, and you're invited too. Tickets are not yet on sale, but I just want you to save that date, October 1st of this year. movministry.com.
New developments in the Abrego Garcia case, and more Republicans are demanding transparency in the whole Epstein issue. And we'll have today's closing money news. That's at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, yeah, 28 after 6. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. 615-737-9986. We'd love to hear from you. 615-737-9986. Discussing a variety of things. Are you, Cameron, have you figured out or have you paid much attention to the 7th Congressional? You know, we already have people dropping out.
Who dropped out now?
Well, I'm almost there. I spoke too soon. Here we go. So, State Representative Jay Reedy joined Matt Van Epps, Lee Reeves, Montgomery County Commissioner Jason Knight, State Representative Jody Barrett, Springfield resident John Thorpe, January 6th defendant Stuart Parks, and Mason Foley, seeking the Republican nomination in the special primary election that is expected to occur this October. Jay Reedy was among those. He is Republican from Aaron, state representative. He threw his hat in the ring and promptly rushed to pick it up, saying that he would not seek the Republican nomination in the special election for Tennessee's 7th Congressional District. I ask you, if I told you this is a 3-person race, would you disagree with me in the Republican primary? I can name them again.
No, I think it's 3-person race. I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm. In a moment, I'll tell you who my 3 are.
Okay.
And you can tell me if you agree or disagree. 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good evening. It is 6:30. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A full forecast and another traffic report are upcoming. Well, a federal judge did not make a determination on whether or not to release Kilmar Abrego Garcia from jail today as he awaits trial on human smuggling charges. Abrego Garcia, 29 years of age, he'll stay in jail while U.S. District Judge Waverly Crenshaw reviews evidence in the case brought by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Crenshaw said he'll likely issue a ruling next week. Abrego Garcia was deported to a prison in El Salvador in March, and then he was brought back to the U.S. to face charges of human smuggling following a Tennessee traffic stop in Putnam County back in 2022. Body camera video shows police discussing among themselves their suspicions of human smuggling before letting Abrego Garcia go free. He was not charged with any offense at the traffic stop before he was deported in March and then returned on June 6th. President Trump now lashing out at his own supporters over the growing calls for more transparency into the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. ABC's Jonathan Karl says a growing number of Republicans are now backing a push to hear from an Epstein associate themselves.
Ghislaine Maxwell, just as a reminder, was Epstein's longtime associate. She is currently in prison for conspiring to sexually abuse young women with Jeffrey Epstein. And they're saying they want to hear from her, that she'll know the answers to these questions they are seeking. So if that were to come to pass, that would be a huge moment and a major escalation of this story.
Now let's check the closing money news. And for that, here's Michelle Frenzen.
It was an up and down day for stocks on Wall Street after President Trump admitted that he talked about possibly firing Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Later, the president said he would not rule anything out, but the firing was highly unlikely. The Dow gained 231 points, the Nasdaq added 52, and the S&P grew 20. Before the Powell remarks, stocks had been rising on better than expected inflation figures. The Labor Department finds inflation at the wholesale level slowed to 2.3% last month compared to a year ago and was unchanged month to month. Johnson & Johnson jumped about 6% after the drug giant beat analysts' sales and profit targets and raised its full-year forecasts. CEO Joaquin Duato said it expects game-changing approvals and submissions in the second half of 2025. PNC Financial Services Group added nearly 1% following its better-than-expected quarterly report, thanks in part to loan growth.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
That's exit 221B. And also up near Opryland, we've got a crash, Briley Parkway northbound at McGavick Pike at exit 12. We've got your traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Satan knows Scripture better than some Christians, and for that reason should be respected because he has centuries of experience in deceiving and tempting people. Satan understands our human nature and our motivations. Satan has the power to plant thoughts in our minds if we allow it through ignorance. John 13:2, during supper, the devil having already put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, to betray him, that being Jesus, Satan can possess non-believers as well. Luke 22:3, and Satan entered into Judas, who was called Iscariot, belonging to the number of the 12. Satan actually tries harder on Christians because Christians become his enemies when we accept Christ as our Savior. The best news, Christians share in Jesus' victory since he defeated Satan's power on the cross. John 16:33. These things I have spoken to you so that in me you may have peace. In the world you may have tribulation, but take courage. I have overcome the world. Scan to learn more.
Oh, I love it when the listeners do our research for us. 4460 says 17 members of the House of Representatives and 6 members of the United States Senate are over the age of 80. And I would say that at some point you cap out. I mean, it's not supposed to be a career. I don't see a problem with it. I don't see a problem with it.
I mean, to me, I've been there. I've watched this. The worst thing I've ever seen was Senator Robert Byrd from West Virginia. Big time appropriator, so he was extremely valuable to West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a great dude, but declined precipitously and was basically operated as a puppet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just wrong.
Well, they were doing that with Dianne Feinstein,
Yes.
before she left office. They did that. I mean, look, Chuck Grassley, good Lord, God bless him, but he's 91.
Yeah.
And even when you and I were younger, Strom Thurmond, I mean, they ran him out, and I think at the age of 93 or 94, he won re-election, and,
Well, I'll put it this way. I use Chuck Grassley as a great example. I love Chuck Grassley. Huge fan. When I am not a spring chicken. I have a 16-year-old who drives a car. When I started my career out of law school on Capitol Hill, I worked on Senate Judiciary, and Chuck Grassley was a very senior member.
He was old
when I started my career.
Right. So it cuts both ways, obviously. Now, let me ask you this in the time that we have left. Senator Adam Schiff, I call him a pencil neck geek. He is. There is, not that this is necessarily a personality or lack thereof contest, but I can't think of a lot of politicians that I like less than Adam Schiff. He is just a wholly dislikable person. And I think if Democrats were truly being honest, they would say the same thing about him. I mean, I understand he's their guy or whatever, but and I don't think they like him either. Adam Schiff has been referred to the Department of Justice for criminal prosecution regarding mortgage documents. The director of the U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency sent a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, citing alleged misconduct by Schiff, who owns homes in California and Maryland, because, being in the halls of Congress isn't a get-rich-quick scheme.
And sometimes.
Based on media reports, Adam Schiff has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms, impacting payments from 2003 to 2019, a 16-year span, for a Potomac, Maryland-based property. That, according to Director William Pulte, wrote in a letter. It was obtained by Fox News. As regulator of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the Federal Home Loan Banks, we take very seriously allegations of mortgage fraud and other criminal activity. Such misconduct jeopardizes the safety and soundness of regulated entities and the security and stability of the U.S. mortgage market. On Monday, Pulte received, and I hope I'm pronouncing his
I think it's
name.
Pulte.
Is it Pulte? Received a memo from the Fannie Mae crisis financial crimes investigation, concluding that Schiff allegedly engaged in a sustained pattern of possible occupancy misrepresentation on 5 separate Fannie Mae loans. So I'll ask you, you went to school, studied the law?
I did go to school, and I did study the law.
Schiff and his wife purchased a home in Potomac, Maryland in 2003 for $870,000. They entered into a Fannie Mae-backed mortgage agreement for $610,000 over a 30-year term, asserting the property would be their primary and principal residence. Is there smoke here?
Look, I think that you're going to have investigators go in and see, hey, did you knowingly falsify those documents? Because what could have happened is they filed the paperwork when they were indeed living there and then moved to another residence. I don't know the timing of all the things. But, yeah, I mean, if you the real key here is that can a prosecutor prove that you, at the time you filed the documentation, know that what you were doing was fraudulent to secure better rates.
So the letter that I referred to said that they reaffirmed that the Maryland home was their primary residence in mortgage refinancing filings in 2009, 2011, 2012, 2013. So one, I mean, you marry the house, you date the mortgage. Is that right? So I don't understand why you're refinancing the amount that you are. I mean, I guess better to take advantage of the rates. I don't know. But yeah, you're reasserting, and you legally have to, your primary residence has to be where you represent the state of California, right?
No.
So I think you have to live in the state.
So I can't remember what the requirement. I know in like congressional districts, for example, you don't have to live in the district.
In the district.
I don't know if you have to live in the state.
It might be.
I can look that up.
It might be depending on California law, but so yeah, one is a political matter and the other is a criminal matter. But it is, if you were doing something like this, I mean, I guess it goes back to what were you doing back in California at your residence there? Were you claiming some sort of homestead exemption there, simultaneous to declaring that your Maryland property was your primary residence? And that would be in conflict with one another and would be, I would think, introduced as evidence that you knowingly were calling both your primary residence.
Yeah. And I mean, if you can prove that, you can nail them.
In the same time frame, Schiff took a homeowner's tax exemption on a condo that he owns in Burbank, California.
So they must be an inhabitant or resident of the state they represent at the time of their election.
Okay, here's the bottom line. So he was claiming primary residency in Maryland, and Schiff took a homeowner's tax exemption on his condo in Burbank, California. In doing so, he claimed that the home was his primary residence, and he got a $7,000 reduction off of his property taxes for claiming that. So he's claiming two primary residences. I think this could happen to, I mean, and of course, they'll do what they do, and they'll say, oh, it's a political hit job. And
hey,
yada,
well,
yada,
look, they would have cut Trump slack on this kind of stuff, right? Like, just been like, this is probably just a paperwork mess up, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, this is just a...
Totally take it easy.
Everybody, no matter who you are, you can screw up. Hey, our bad.
Schiff's hilarious on this stuff because I can just hear the way that he will present it. It's like, I wear this as a badge of honor.
Right, that they're going after me and all that kind of crap. I just want to slap him in his face.
They're coming after me.
I'm prone to violence.
I'm standing in the way.
Prone to violence when I see that dude on TV. He's just such a slimy POS. He just is.
I just look at the whole political situation right now, and it just feels plastic. I'll say this to all those folks out there who are like who know that I call balls and strikes. I don't love any politician, including Trump. Trump may be the only authentic politician anywhere on either side of the aisle right now. I mean, it's his jam the way he does it.
Maybe Fetterman.
I'll give you John Fetterman too.
Right?
There are just not many of them, and you can see it when it happens because it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't seem like in his best interest to say that politically.
But he said it anyway.
Right. And I feel like everybody else, is just playing a game. And I mean,
those calculated, I mean, you can see the wheels turning sometimes, and I'll tell you, authenticity goes a long way with me, and I don't care what your political stripes are. And you know this about me. You've known me for years.
Mm-hmm.
When the people that get yelled at on the Matt Murphy show are those that come in, they're inauthentic, and then they try to get around pointed questions by being cute or slimy or squishy. And I mean, I just don't treat us like we're stupid.
Look, I threw up in my mouth when my representative and our friend Andy Ogles was like, well, we need Trump on Mount Rushmore. I'm like,
stop it.
Gag me now. Like, come on. And Trump is what I call a reference politician. So many people are in reference to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the addition of Fetterman. I'd love to hear what listeners say. Who else is an authentic leader? You don't have to like them, but they're there.
Burchett?
He's pretty much himself.
I don't know that he's himself. I don't know that I would, Burchett is who Burchett is. I guess a leader in terms of he's a congressman. But, I mean, Burchett is who he is.
And he doesn't seem like he's trying to pander. Like, not that much. I don't get that vibe from him a whole lot.
They're out there, but they are few. But one of the things that I love, and I think it's a legacy that Trump leaves long after he's gone, is that you can't be that plastic politician anymore. People expect more.
And I like it that Trump actually holds contempt for, like, his narcissism likes being praised, but he doesn't hold any of his, like, acolytes in high regard. He's like,
he considers it weakness.
You're a weak patsy who claps for me. Now keep clapping.
Right.
Dance for me.
And I'll throw you a bone here or there.
But I don't love
But I'm not going to respect you.
Right. Exactly. It's so weird.
Dave is next. Dave wants to talk about age limits. Hello, Dave.
Well, hey, Matt. Speaking of Fetterman, I don't know what happened to that dude. They dropped him on his head or something, and he came out like, now he sounds like me.
Yeah, maybe we were dropped on our heads too. I mean, who knows?
But no, on age limits, I disagree. Look, the way to solve the problem is term limits. 12 years in the House, 12 years in the Senate. If you want to have age limits, Supreme Court is where you need age limits. The lifetime appointment, I mean, if you go back, look at some of the guys and people who were on that court, just, come on, in their 90s.
Yeah, but tell me why. Hang on. Why are term limits cool, but age limits not?
Well, think about this. If you have term limits, right, and if you say, all right, well, so for House Representative, that's 6 terms. The big issue I have is not the old people in Congress. It's the enrichment of themselves that takes place. When you have public servants who spend 30, 40 years,
yeah, but
and they go in.
But could I make an argument, Dave, that almost every single old person in Congress was at one time a young person in Congress?
Right.
Well,
these are all the career politicians that you're talking about.
Well, yeah, but let me flip it around, right? If let's say a 12-year limit, right? So 6 terms in the House. After that 6 terms, they're out. Now, if within those districts, because I'm all about giving the people in a district full authority to elect whoever the hell they want. So if the people in that district want to elect somebody who's in their garbage, that's up to them. But let's not live with them for.
But hang on, you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth, because you're saying, well, they can elect whoever they want except for the person they have after 6 terms.
What if they really like that person and that person's doing a good job?
Then they could run for another office, maybe a governor.
Wait a minute, but so you don't believe in giving the people the choice that they want?
Well, now that you mention that, I think I should just decide for everybody.
Boom! I agree, Dave. I think Dave should decide for everybody.
Dave's
I agree.
owning it, and I love that.
Dave, I love it. I love it. No, I mean, I get it. I mean, I've turned around a little bit on term limits because I've watched how Washington, D.C. becomes a political career. At the same time, I don't think that the politicians necessarily are the problem as much as the bureaucracy. Yeah. And I think if you start term limiting politicians and don't give them a certain level of seasoning to understand what's going on around them, the bureaucracy will continue to get more powerful.
Term limit bureaucrats. Man. Let's not term limit the political class, just term limit service in the executive branch to 10 years.
If you serve longer than 10 years, you get shot at dawn. 9 until the top of the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here. Let's talk about why the Glock store is my go-to #1 Second Amendment superstore. I have a few reasons why. Number one, they have the biggest selection of Glock handguns anywhere in the United States of America. You heard me correctly. Anywhere in the United States of America, and all sorts, all shapes, all sizes, just anything that has been done. I mean, they've done anything to a Glock that you can do to a Glock. Every Glock in stock. We're talking about every version and every model. Secondly, the people are not just experts in Glocks. They are truly fans. They're aficionados. They love talking about it. They love talking about Glock accessories and the performance products. You never feel rushed. There are never too many questions that you can ask, and they'll answer every single one of them. They have employees who drive from all around to come to the Glock store because they love what they do. Their customer service is frankly unmatched. They will install your enhancement or your performance part while you wait for free, and they know they can do that because there's always a Glock gunsmith on duty if the business is open. Just a few of the many, many reasons that you'll fall in love with the Glock store, too. Go and see them for yourself on Airlane Drive, just off of Elm Hill Pike. Minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. Online at glockstore.com.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
Pastor and author J.C. Ryle once said, contrary to popular belief, hell is not a place God sends only the worst of the worst. Hell is our default destination. What that means is we need someone to save us, or we stand before God condemned to hell. But we cannot save ourselves. Only God can do that. Ephesians 2:8 and 9 says, for by grace you have been saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast. Jesus Christ placed all believers' sins upon himself and died to pay for those sins. Why did he have to die, though? Because Scripture explicitly says the wages of sin is death. Wages means the same as payment, so payment for sin is death. There are no second chances to accept Christ and avoid hell after you die. So if you feel a prompting in your heart, it may be God drawing you. Scan the QR code to learn more.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I love not looking at the super text line for a hot minute and then going back and seeing what's been going on, and then in some cases not understanding what people are responding to. several people have said that Senator John Kennedy out of Louisiana would be representative of an authentic politician. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yep, I give you that one.
8167 says, BS, you treat anyone that disagrees with you like crap, to which I say not true. Not true. I treated Heidi Campbell nicely until I threw her out of the studio. And I was actually nice to her when I did that. I called her a liar. She was lying, and so I said, stop lying. And she said, I'm not going to sit here and be called a liar. I said, well, you can leave. I wasn't mad at her. Afton Bain.
Bain, is that how you pronounce that?
She told me personally.
Cool.
She said she doesn't really care, but it's Bain. We had coffee this week.
You did?
Afton and I did.
Cool.
Yeah, at her request. She wanted to sit down with. She's running for the 7th Congressional District.
I did know that.
I told her that I referred to her as the cutest little communist in Tennessee, and she said she was going to get a T-shirt made.
You should get her a T-shirt. You should make the T-shirt for her.
Well, I mean, she owned it. She said she told her family about it, and they loved it.
Well, the standing shoulder to shoulder with Ilhan Omar is really, that's probably going to play well in Tennessee, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, but that wasn't Afton.
Was she there at the event?
No.
Okay.
Gloria was. I have it on good authority, and I will not say where this came from because certain conversations that I had, I agreed were off the record, and I try to honor that.
That's fair.
I don't believe, based on my sources, that Representative Afton Bain and Representative Justin Jones are friendly.
Okay.
At all.
Well, look, seems, I don't know her personally, but my sort of view from afar had been, she seems pretty pragmatic. She seems like interesting to hang around. And if she can run that moderate lane, maybe.
Well, I mean, here's the deal, as 4460 puts it. I was invited by, I will allow anybody that wants to come on this radio show. If you have something of interest to the listening audience, you get to come on, no matter your political stripes. And as a matter of fact, I try to advance discussion amongst people that I disagree with. At least Afton showed up to coffee, unlike Freddie. Freddie invited me to coffee and then was a no-show.
He's rescheduling it, Matt. God. Freaking, come on, man.
Now, why don't you go home and give your wife a little love tap?
I
like
am.
you said that she likes.
I am.
Hey,
we're having date night tonight.
Are you? Where are you going? I'm going to crash it.
Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jackson.
Yeah.
Have fun at the soccer contest, buddy.
I'm excited. Going to be a fun time.
You got your hat on. We'll find out how that goes tomorrow. Thank you to Cameron Smith. Thank you to Jay Harper. See you tomorrow, folks. So long.